Nepal's Prime Minister Karki says government, irrespective of its target on election, has intensified the drive for good governance. Preparations on full swing in Nepal to hold the country's upcoming lower house election in a single phase. Political parties creating visible momentum. Ukraine prepares to present a revised peace plan to the White House, seeking to avoid making territorial concessions to Russia, said to propose alternatives to US. Cambodia says 2 more civilians killed in overnight shelling by Thai forces. Thailand reports at least 3 soldiers killed in the latest conflict so far. US announces sanctions against more than 50 entities for facilitating Iranian oil and LPG sales and shipments from Iran. And Biratnagar Kings chasing a victory target of 156 runs in Nepal Premier League against Sudur Paschim Royals. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World Prime Time News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. And now the news in detail. The world is marking International Anti-Corruption Day, IACD 2025, under the theme United with Youth Against Corruption, Shaping Tomorrow's Integrity. The campaign highlights the pivotal role of young people in promoting transparency, accountability, and ethical governance. This year also commemorates the 10th anniversary of UN Security Council Resolution 2250 on youth, peace, and security, reaffirming youth inclusion and integrity as key pillars of lasting peace. In Nepal, Prime Minister Sushila Karki has reiterated that the government formed with the support from the Gen Z movement advocating good governance remains committed to strengthening anti-corruption efforts despite upcoming elections. Speaking at a program on the 22nd International Anti-Corruption Day, Prime Minister Karki said some groups were uneasy with the government's anti-corruption drive and had even issued threats. Nepal marks International Anti-Corruption Day 2025 with Transparency International scoring the country 34th out of 100, sparking renewed public scrutiny. Under this year's theme, Uniting with Youth Against Corruption, Shaping Tomorrow's Integrity, young people are demanding stronger action from the interim government to tackle entrenched corruption. Bijeta Bhandari reports.
Nepal has always been ranked as one of the most corrupt countries by global anti-corruption watchdog Transparency International for more than 2 decades. In the latest report of Transparency International released every year in February, Nepal scored 34 out of 100 in the Corruption Perceptions Index. The index ranks 180 countries on a scale from 0 to 100, where 0 means highly corrupt and 100 means very clean, based on expert and business sector assessments of the public sector corruption. Nepal sits at 34, just above the 33-point threshold often associated with countries drifting into non-democratic practices. It also ranks 107th out of 180 countries, far below the global average score of 43. When we think of corruption, we often imagine under-the-table payments, bribes, and delayed projects. The interim government led by the former Chief Justice Sushila Karki sits on the throne of the anti-corruption movement that derailed the elected government and dissolved the federal parliament. Given the obvious mandate of handing over the governance by holding fresh elections on March 5, 2026, the Karki-led government needs to come up with visible measures to curb rampant corruption in the country.
यो सरकार चुनावी सरकार मात्र होइन, सुशासनको माग राखी भएको जेनजी आन्दोलनको जगमा बनेको सरकार हो। सरकारले नियमित कार्य सँगसँगै सुशासनका निमित्त तीव्र गतिमा काम गरिरहेको छ। जेनजीका माग र अपेक्षा बमोजिमका आशातीत उपलब्धि हासिल हुन समय लाग्ला, तर भ्रष्टाचार विरुद्ध जुनसुकै हदसम्मको कठोर कदम चाल्न पनि सरकार पछि हट्ने छैन।
As the recent Gen Z protests in Nepal showed, many young Nepalis are no longer willing to accept the system that is deeply rooted in corruption.
हाम्रा संस्थाहरू कमजोर भए, त्यसलाई नियन्त्रण गर्ने संस्थाहरू। दोस्रो कुरा, हामीले भिजनरी लिडर पाएनौँ, नन करप्ट लिडर हैन, जसलाई चाहिँ कसैले औँली ठडाउन सकोस्। हामीहरूका कानुन राम्रो हुँदा हुँदै पनि कार्यान्वयन गर्ने निकायहरू कमजोर रहे। तेस्रो कुरो त मानिसमा चेतनाको स्तर कम भयो।
According to the 2021 census, people aged 16 to 40 made up 42.56% of Nepal's population, a massive youth demographic directly affected by weak institutions, poor governance, failing infrastructure, and low climate resilience. For them, corruption is not just about financial loss, but also lost opportunities, unsafe development, and uncertain future. This Anti-Corruption Day, the message from Nepal's youth is unmistakable. Integrity is not optional. Bijata Bhandari with camera person Durba Thapa reporting for NTV World.
And moving on, Nepal's Election Commission has said preparations are in full swing to hold the country's upcoming House of Representatives election in a single phase on March 5. Acting Chief Election Commissioner Ram Prasad Bhandari said that the Commission is working meticulously to ensure the polls take place in a free, fair and secure environment. The Chief Commissioner noted that political parties across Nepal have already become active, creating visible momentum ahead of the vote. Bhandari added the Commission is holding a series of consultations with the government, major political parties and all 4 national security agencies. According to him, these coordinated efforts have helped establish a positive and stable security climate for election day. Nepal currently has 8,068,230 registered voters, with around 800,000 new voters added ahead of this election. The Commission has confirmed the final verified voter list will be released in the first week of January. Additional Secretary at the India's Ministry of External Affairs, Monu Mahawar, paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Sushila Karki today. According to the Prime Minister's Secretariat, the meeting held at the Prime Minister's office in Singhadarwar focused on key areas of bilateral cooperation, including trade, connectivity, energy partnership and ongoing development projects. Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening Nepal-India relations and exploring new avenues of collaboration. Prime Minister Karki expressed appreciation for India's continued support, while Mahawar conveyed India's interest in deepening cooperation under existing bilateral mechanisms. We'll take a short break here. More news coming up. You're watching NTV World. Welcome back to Primetime News. Nepal's government has launched a decisive crackdown on construction contractors who have left infrastructure projects idle for years, placing heavy financial and economic burdens on the state. Authorities are now fast-tracking the termination of contracts for dozens of long-delayed or sick development projects. Speaking at a dialogue program on the management of the stalled contracts organized in Kathmandu by Nepal Infrastructure Journalists Society, Minister for Physical Infrastructure and Transport Kulman Khising emphasized that the government will no longer tolerate contractors who take on projects but fail to start work. Khising noted that responsibility for the growing number of non-performing projects lies not only with construction firms but also with the relevant ministries and the Ministry of Finance. He highlighted persistent problems in the contracting system, ranging from contractors disappearing after winning bids to projects remaining idle for years, pushing many development into a dysfunctional state. Minister Khising said more than 250 projects nationwide have fallen into this sick category due to contracting negligence, warning that such delays are undermining job creation and damaging Nepal's broader economic performance. The government of Nepal has fixed the minimum purchase price of sugarcane at 620 rupees or about $4.50 per quintal for the 2025-26 fiscal year. The decision approved during a cabinet meeting on Monday marks an increase of 35 rupees per quintal from last year. The government will also continue offering a 70 rupee per quintal subsidy to sugarcane growing farmers. While farmers have welcomed the price hike, they noted that they had demanded 750 rupees per quintal, citing rising production costs and inflation. They highlighted increases in the prices of fertilizers, seeds, labor, irrigation and transportation, stressing that these cost pressures have made sugarcane farming more challenging. Farmers also urged the government to announce the sugarcane price by mid-November each year, allowing them to plan their harvest and manage resources more effectively. With the new rate now set, sugar mills across major sugarcane producing districts in eastern and western Nepal, including Morang, Sunsari, Sarlahi, Siraha, Bara, Rupandehi, Nawalparasi West and Kapilvastu, are preparing to begin crushing operations for the season. Now, the government of Nepal has decided to form an inquiry committee led by Deepak Subedi to investigate the implementation of Supreme Court orders related to transportation sector. Government spokesperson and Minister for Communication and Information Technology, Jagdish Kharel, made public the decisions of cabinet meeting held on Monday.
यातायात क्षेत्र सम्बन्धी सर्वोच्च अदालतका आदेशहरू कार्यान्वयन सम्बन्धमा श्री दीपक सुवेदीको अध्यक्षतामा श्री शरद अधिकारी र श्री योगेन्द्रनाथ कर्मचारी सदस्य रहेको जाँचबुझ आयोग गठन गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। सम्बत 2082 साल भदौ 23 र 24 गतेको जेन्जी प्रदर्शन तथा आन्दोलनमा घाइते तथा अपाङ्ग भएका व्यक्तिलाई राहत सहायता उपलब्ध गराउने सम्बन्धी कार्यविधि 2082 स्वीकृत गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ।
The mobile consular camp organized by the Embassy of Nepal in Portugal has successfully concluded in the Portuguese island of Madeira. According to the embassy, the two-day outreach program was conducted to provide essential consular services to Nepali citizens living on the island. A total of 81 Nepali nationals submitted applications for electronic passports during the camp. Moreover, the embassy team also offered various other consular consultations and assistance to Nepali community residing in Madeira. The embassy stated that such mobile camps are part of its ongoing efforts to make consular services more accessible to Nepali living abroad. Local governments in Nepal's mid-hills have rolled out new programs aimed at safeguarding indigenous crops, encouraging farmers to bring back traditional varieties such as millet, buckwheat, barley and foxtail millet that once faced extinction. Rojina Rai, with support from Dhading correspondent Shiva Silwal, brings this report.
Predominantly still an agricultural country, Nepal ranks 72nd among 123 countries in the 2025 Global Nutrition Index, issued as per the World Health Organization (WHO). Nepal remains largely off track in meeting the targets set by WHO's Global Nutrition Target 2025 on nutrition and food security. As concerns over nutrition security grow, traditional Nepali crops are gaining renewed importance. Local governments have made headway in announcing plans to run campaigns to preserve and promote indigenous species of food crops. With the demand steadily rising, farmers in Nepal's mid-hill and high-hilly regions are cultivating seasonal indigenous crops more than earlier years. Several programs have been introduced to encourage pesticide-free, eco-friendly production techniques to ensure the natural qualities of indigenous crops.
होमस्टेक राखिसकेपछि यसरी हामीले नयाँ नयाँ अर्गानिक चीज यहाँ भएको के रे पहिलादेखि भइरहेको यो फापर अनि त्यसपछि कोदो मकै धान तपाईले दियो यिनीहरु पनि लाउन थालेछ।
Training sessions are being conducted on soil and water conservation, organic pest and disease control, and long-term seed preservation for sustainability of traditional crops. Experts believe this will improve Nepal's standing in the World Nutrition Index while also supporting rural agro-tourism. With the rise in people's acceptance of locally produced delicacy, homestay operators in rural areas are increasingly serving traditional cooking prepared from millet, maize, barley, wheat, promoting both Nepal's food legacy and local agriculture. Nepal's dependence on imported food grains still a bitter reality, but the renewed focus on promoting indigenous crops can slowly but surely help.
International news coming up next. For now, a short break. Ukraine is preparing to present a revised peace plan to the White House as it seeks to avoid making territorial concessions to Russia. Kyiv is set to propose alternatives to the U.S. after President Volodymyr Zelensky again ruled out surrendering land, saying he had no right to do so under Ukrainian or international law. He made the comments as he met European and NATO leaders on Monday, part of a collective push to deter the U.S. from backing a peace deal which includes major concessions for Ukraine and which allies fear would leave it vulnerable to a future invasion. Meanwhile, Zelensky has arrived in Brussels for meetings with the heads of NATO and the European Union as diplomatic efforts intensify over U.S. attempts to chart a path toward ending Russia's nearly 4-year invasion. His talks with NATO chief Mark Rutte and the EU's Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa follow a series of meetings in London, Paris and Berlin with UK, French and German leaders. Now, renewed fighting between Thailand and Cambodia over a disputed border has spread as more deaths are reported and thousands are displaced. Cambodia says 2 more civilians have been killed in overnight shelling by Thai forces, bringing the total deaths on its side to 7. Thailand has reported that at least 3 soldiers have been killed. Both sides have blamed each other for the clashes, which have derailed a fragile ceasefire brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump earlier in July. Trump had, at the time, claimed a historic achievement in ending the border conflict, with Cambodia nominating Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize for his role. Thailand and Cambodia have been contesting territorial sovereignty along their 800-kilometer land border for more than a century. At least 30 people were injured after a magnitude 7.5 earthquake hit northeastern Japan on Monday night, forcing thousands of people to evacuate their homes. The quake occurred at 2350 local time at a depth of 50 kilometers, about 80 kilometers off the coast of the Aomori region. It prompted tsunami warnings, which have now been lifted, while waves of 70 centimeters were seen. Some train services have been suspended and thousands of homes have been left without power as a result. Authorities have also warned that a strong tremor could occur in the coming days, urging the public to remain on high alert for at least a week. The U.S. Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, on Thursday announced sanctions against more than 50 individuals, entities and vessels for facilitating Iranian oil and liquefied petroleum gas sales and shipments from Iran, including Indian nationals involved in trading activities linked to Iran's energy sector. According to a release by the U.S. Department of the Treasury, these actors have collectively enabled the export of billions of dollars worth of petroleum and petroleum products, providing critical revenue to the Iranian regime and its support for terrorist groups that threaten the U.S. The action targets a network moving hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Iranian LPG, along with nearly 24 shadow fleet vessels, a China-based crude oil terminal, and an independent refinery. According to the release, Indian nationals Varun Pula, Sonia Shrestha, and Ayappan Raja have been sanctioned under Executive Order 13902 for acting or purporting to act directly or indirectly, for or behalf of shipping firms involved in transporting Iranian petroleum products and LPG. More international news after this short break here on NTV World Primetime News. The owners of a nightclub in Goa, India, where a devastating fire killed 25 people on Sunday, have fled the country hours after the tragedy. Indian authorities confirmed the two brothers, Saurav and Gaurav Luthra, boarded a flight to Phuket in Thailand shortly after the incident. Investigators believe the fierce blaze was triggered by fireworks being set off inside the venue, Burj by Romeo Lane, which is located in a busy nightlife area of Goa, a coastal state popular with domestic and international tourists. The majority of the victims were staff members, while 4 were holidaymakers visiting from Delhi. 5 people are still being treated in hospital. Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto has reached Islamabad for a 2-day official visit, his first as head of state to Pakistan. Both Pakistan and Indonesia have decided to promote their relations in diverse fields, including trade, culture, health, education, and vocational training. The visit is expected to witness the signing of several memoranda of understanding, with both countries set to advance cooperation in trade, investment, defense, health, information technology, climate initiatives, education, and culture. Discussions will also cover enhancing coordination at regional and global forums. This is Subianto's first trip to Pakistan and the first visit by an Indonesian head of state since 2018, when former President Joko Widodo toured the country. Now, China sent a new satellite group into space from the Taiyuan Satellite Launch Center in North China's Shanxi province on Tuesday. The satellite group, the 15th group of the country's low-orbit internet satellites, was launched at 6:11 Beijing time aboard a modified Long March 6 carrier rocket and entered its preset orbit successfully. This marked the 613th flight mission of the Long March carrier rocket series. Time now for a sports update. Sudur Pashchim Royals have romped into the final of Nepal Premier League NPL Season 2 with 77 runs victory against Biratnagar Kings. In the first qualifier at the TU Cricket Stadium today, the Royals defended the target of 155 by bowling out Kings for 78 runs in just 14.1 overs. Biratnagar, that chose to bowl first, conceded 155 runs for the loss of 7 wickets to Royals in the first innings at the turning track of TU. The Kings will still have a chance to qualify for the final as they face the winner of eliminator between Lumbini Lions and Kathmandu Gorkhas, scheduled for tomorrow. The International Olympic Committee IOC, led by its newly elected president, Kirsty Coventry, convened its final meeting of the year on 9 to 10 December 2025 at its headquarters in Lausanne, Switzerland. During the meeting, the IOC Executive Board reviewed the latest updates on activities across the Olympic movement, including reports from its various commissions and the organizing committees responsible for upcoming Olympic Games. A press conference is scheduled to follow the conclusion of the meeting, at which Coventry and her team will present outcomes from the board's deliberations. The meeting underscores the IOC's continuing governance oversight, and preparation for future games under the new leadership. The flags of all 11 participating countries were officially raised on December 8 in a traditional ceremony at the indoor stadium Huamark, marking the readiness of the host nation one day before the official opening of the 33rd Southeast Asian Games. Dr. Michai Inwood, Deputy Governor of the Sports Authority of Thailand, presided over the event, joined by Thana Chaiprasit, Thailand's chef de mission, and delegates from all 11 competing nations. Thana affirmed that Thailand is now fully prepared to host the Games, stating the ceremony signifies the nation's readiness and spirit. He urged Thai fans to be good hosts by welcoming the 10 guest nations with friendship and promoting peace through sports. In a separate confirmation, the Cambodian delegation affirmed their participation, sending 137 individuals, 72 athletes and 65 team officials to compete in 12 sports. And before wrapping up, here's a reminder of the headlines once again. Nepal's Prime Minister Sushila Karki says government, irrespective of its target on election, has intensified the drive for good governance. Preparations in full swing in Nepal to hold the country's upcoming House of Representatives election in a single phase, political parties creating visible momentum. Ukraine prepares to present a revised peace plan to the White House, seeking to avoid making territorial concessions to Russia. Kyiv said to propose alternatives. Cambodia says 2 more civilians killed in overnight shelling by Thai forces. Thailand reports at least 3 soldiers killed in the latest conflict so far. US announces sanctions against more than 50 entities for facilitating Iranian oil and LPG sales and shipments from Iran. And Sudur Pashchim Royals enters the final of NPL Season 2, beat Biratnagar Kings by 77 runs in the first qualifier. That is all for NTV World Primetime News for now. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media pages and get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I am Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu, Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories
bloom. When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for public service broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
Human beings have made drastic progress in the sector of handicrafts with the development of civilization from the Stone Age until the 21st century. These include and are not limited to works of art, sculptures, wood and metal crafts. These handicrafts have also found religious, historic, cultural and archaeological acceptance and significance. Religious texts have identified the attraction of human settlements in the mountainous region of Nepal, which has always remained an independent sovereign nation. Ramapithecus human remains found in Butwal of West Nepal clarifies that human settlement had begun in Nepal more than 10 million years ago. We find historic references of works of handicrafts made by those living in this region. Such Nepali handicrafts are artistic and useful, therefore also successful in gaining international appreciation. Instead of the modern handicrafts, Nepal is well introduced in the international community by its traditional and historic works of art and craft. Millions of tourists who visit Nepal every year observe, study and relish the traditional handicrafts available at religious shrines. The high-quality woods brought from local forests are seasoned before being carved. Nepali woodcrafts are not only popular inside the country, but also have a demand abroad and therefore are exported. In addition to sculptures of gods and goddesses, artistic doors and windows, among other furniture, are made from wood in Nepal. Best examples of Nepali woodcraft can be taken as the artistic carvings at palaces, temples and other religious shrines in Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur. The 6th century woodcraft present at Rudravarna Mahavihar in Okubahal of Lalitpur is considered the oldest. Nepali woodcraft continues to thrive with the creativity, dedication and effort of trained artists. Artist Punyaraj Tuladhar, popular around the world, shares his experience. Lalitpur is popular around the world for its metal craft in Nepal. Works of metal craft produced here had a great demand in countries including Bhutan, Japan, China and European nations. Metal statues are developed using two methods in Nepal: repose art and lost wax process, both widely popular around the world. Repose art is a metalworking technique in which a malleable metal, silver, copper and brass among others, is shaped by hammering from the reverse side to create a design in low relief. Small sheets of metal are cut based on required measurement to form different organs of statues before being welded together. Designs and patterns are then carved into the structure. Gold is plated in some works such as metal craft as well. Such metal sheets are also used in the roof of temples and other religious shrines. Lost wax process is the technique by which a metal sculpture, often silver, gold, brass or bronze, is cast from an original sculpture of wax made of honeycomb. Molten metal is poured into a mold that has been created by means of a wax model. Once the mold is made, the wax model is melted and drained away. In the second phase, the metal sculpture is cleaned with different machines or equipment. After filling of the sculpture, it is then plated with gold or painted with colors based on the requirements. Most of such sculptures are found in Buddhist and Hindu religious shrines. Globally recognized senior artist Krodh Kala Shiromani Kalu Kumale shares his experience. Existing sculptures present in Nepal and at museums abroad prove that the works of sculptures have a long history in the country. Sculptures made using the lost wax process have a huge demand in China and other countries and continue to be exported. Okubahal, Nagbahal, Haugal and Tangal, among other places, are the pioneers in metal craft. Likewise, metal crafts of Tansen in Palpa, Chainpur and Bhojpur are also popular around the world. Silver filigree art of Nepal is internationally recognized. The genre, which began during the Lichavi era and grew in the Malla era, is considered quality work of art of Nepal. Attractive shapes are made from metals including silver, and precious stones are then used to create artistic objects. It is believed that works of filigree art were the first ones to be purchased by tourists. Artists speak of a huge demand of quality Nepali filigree art in the international market. Senior artist Dillita Shakya shares his experience. Stone art is taken as a significant category of handicrafts. Equipment including hammers is used in development of beautiful sculptures. This form of art had begun with the development of different kinds of weapons. They are strong and durable and therefore remain intact. Most of the sculptures of gods and goddesses are made from stones. Likewise, sculptures of animals, stone taps, temples, religious symbols and goods used in daily lives are also made from stone. Most of such sculptures are made from the stones found in local hills, including Hattiban, Machegao, Tika Bhairav, Godavari and Kharpa, among others. Senior artist Dharmaraj Shakya says that Nepal's stone art has a unique identity. Of the stone sculptures found so far, a sculpture of King Jaya Varma found in Harigao and currently conserved at National Museum in Chhaoni is considered to be the oldest historic sculpture. Likewise, sculptures in Changu installed by King Mandev, another found in Tilganga near Pashupati, a sculpture of Vishnu Vikrant in Lazimpat, and the one at Budhanilkantha are also considered historic. Sculpture of Birupaksha Kirateshwar Mahadev at Pashupati Aryaghat, Vishwaroop at Changu, Garud Sayan Vishnu sculpture, Palanchuk Bhagwati, Gazalakshmi of Lalitpur, Chashal Hiti and Krishna Mandir of Patan, among others, are considered the best stone sculptures of Nepal. Terracotta sculptures and masks, among other artworks, are made from clay. Terracotta works are thought to have been in existence in Nepal from a long time. According to historians and archaeologists, terracotta works found during a recent excavation administered by the Department of Archaeology were from the 2nd century BC. In recent practices, terracotta works are made before the development of metal sculptures. Different goods used in daily life are made from terracotta works. In addition to the sculptures of religious figures, products such as cups and plates, among other utensils, are also made from terracotta technique, while they are sold in domestic and foreign markets as well. Artists who have been working with terracotta for ages live in Thimi of Bhaktapur, Dang and Kapilvastu. Popular artist Gopal Kalapremi says the creativity and dedication of Nepali artists has been uplifting terracotta works in and outside of Nepal. Pauba art is made in the Kathmandu Valley and is considered as a traditional art form. This form of art is known as Thanga in Tibet. In Tibetan language, documentation and archives of gods and goddesses is called Thanku or Thanga. In this form of art, Color from natural minerals is used to paint the pictures of religious figures on cloth. The large figure of main garden goddesses is placed at the center, while remaining gods and goddesses are placed in relatively smaller figures at the other parts. The background of this form of art includes different kinds of flowers, clouds, trees, and birds and animals. An artwork of Ratnasambhav Buddha conserved at the County Museum in Los Angeles of the United States of America is considered to be the oldest Paubha art which was developed in the 13th century. The Amitabha Buddha art of the 13th century, also at the County Museum alongside Vishnu Mandala of 1420, and the 19th century's Sahas Bhujalokeshwar saved at the National Museum in Chhaoni, are considered to be Nepal's best Paubha artworks. The demand of Paubha artworks is increasing in Nepal and the foreign market. Popular and senior artist Lok Chitrakar says continuous efforts of talented artists has helped increase the popularity of Nepali Paubha art. Nepali handicrafts have established a significant position in the international community for their traditional, religious, social, historic and archaeological richness. Nepal Academy of Fine Arts has been conducting significant tasks in regards to conservation, promotion and development of Nepali handicrafts. Active involvement of experienced, skilled and talented artists, along with their devotion and sacrifices, have been rejuvenating Nepali handicrafts and helping establish a unique and superior identity of Nepal in the international community.
Music, dance, food, art and devotion are the lifeblood of Newar culture, an ancient civilization rooted in the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal. With lively festivals nearly every fortnight, the Newars celebrate life through a rich tapestry of traditions known as Jatra.
Intermittent playing hide and seek with the folk, enchanting one's heart with the sight of fully bloomed rhododendrons, and rejoicing in the lap of nature with the chirping of the birds. When you set foot in Sandakpur, you experience a wonderful feeling of heavenly bliss right here on earth. Due to the ever-changing weather and the snow-white mountains visible right in front of your eyes, Sandakpur constantly draws everyone's heart towards it. As a habitat for numerous species of birds and endangered wildlife, Sandakpur always leaves an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of all. Situated at an altitude of 3,636 meters above the sea level, Sandakpur is located at Ward 2 and 4 of Sandakpur Rural Municipality in Nepal's eastern Ilam district. Embracing the mountains of Nepal, India and Bhutan, Sandakpur is the only place in South Asia where one can observe the Himalayas of all three countries. While enjoying the Himalayan settlements, one can observe the sunrise and sunset from Sandakpur. It is the only place in Nepal from where over 60 mountain peaks, including the Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Makalu, Pathivara and Kumbhakarna can be seen from one spot. Being the source of the holy Mai River, one of the 4 major rivers in Ilam, Sandakpur is also revered from a religious standpoint, attracting pilgrims from Sandakpur Ridge. The settlements of Ilam, Jhapa and West Bengal of India seem so close that it feels like you could hold them in the palm of your hand. The crimson glow of the sun rising from the Bay of Bengal in the morning, glittering upon the mountains. The joy of witnessing this form such a height is majestic. That is why in winter for the snow and during the monsoon for the rain, the number of visitors from both home and abroad to Sandakpur is on the rise. Among the different species of rhododendrons found in Nepal, 36 can be spotted just along the Sandakpur trek. The rhododendrons blooming all over the forest captivate every heart. With the chirping of birds, the cliffside honeybees, and the opportunity to study endangered species like the red panda, vultures, while enjoying nature, Sandakpur journey has captivated trekkers from around the world. Every year, more than 150,000 tourists from India, Bhutan, Bangladesh and Europe visit Sandakpur. Known as the Bird's Eye Place, Sandakpur was declared a one province, one cultural village by Nepal government in 2018. However, the place still awaits infrastructures like drinking water, electricity and proper trekking trails. Sandakpur can be reached after a 42-kilometer ride from the Ilam headquarters via Mai Pokhari and Kalu Pokhari. Another route to Sandakpur is from Ilam Bazar via Biblate, Sulubung, Mabu and Kalu Pokhari. When trekking to Sandakpur, the highest point of the Mahabharata range, the joy of staying in the homestays and hotels along the way while savoring local cuisine is immeasurable. While forging a connection with the Himalayan settlements, enjoying herbs and local produce, and playing in the snow in winter and the rain during the monsoon, you must visit Sandakpur at least once in your life.
Dai Lake in Karnali province is a geographically remote district, yet rich with untapped potential for tourism. Stepping into Dai Lake, celebrated as a treasure trove of Khas art, culture and heritage, brings a unique sense of joy. Journey begins amid its natural beauty, leading us toward Mahabu Rural Municipality. As we leave the mid-hill highway, the terrain becomes challenging, with hilly, muddy roads demanding patience and skill. Long lines of vehicles crawl carefully along the cliffs, reflecting both the difficulty of the route and the enduring devotion of Mahabu Dham. Many travelers choose to continue on foot, advancing step by step toward their destination. Passing through Channa, Dasarathi, Okharbans, Bhavsaini, Noli and Unipata, pilgrims ascend the slopes toward Lisne before finally reaching Mahabu Patan. Pilgrims from Dai Lake and nearby districts often arrive late at night, having begun their journey the previous day. The path to Mahabu Dham is thrilling, adventurous and breathtaking, made even more dramatic by the steady rain, drifting fog and steep inclines. Yet the journey itself feels uniquely rewarding. Mahabu Lake or Mahabu Dham, located within Mahabu Rural Municipality, is a remarkable place of natural beauty, religious significance and cultural heritage. Situated at an altitude of 4,200 meters, the area is adorned with emerald lakes, grazing flocks of sheep and goats, and a sky that dances with Himalayan mist. Every year, during Janai Purnima, a grand fair is held here, drawing thousands of devotees from across the region. Mahabu Dham's spiritual importance is deeply rooted in the ancient worship of Lord Shiva, revered here as the origin site. From Mahabu Lake, visitors can enjoy magnificent views of Api and Sai Palhimal, and on clear days, even the plains of Bardia. Given its religious importance and natural splendor, Mahabu Dham holds immense potential as a religious tourism destination. Improving the rough, narrow access roads is essential for supporting this growth. Mahabu Dham is more than a pilgrimage site. It is a confluence of culture, history, faith, and nature. To truly appreciate its significance, one must visit Mahabu Lake at least once, immerse oneself in its natural beauty, and experience the serene environment that leaves a lasting impression.
Today we're joined by Alice Akunga, UNICEF's representative to Nepal. She brings long-standing experience from multiple regions across Africa and Asia, and her work focuses on strengthening systems that protect and uplift children. In Nepal, she leads UNICEF's mission to ensure every child has access to safety, education and opportunity. Welcome, Alice. We actually had a very hard time to get a hold of you because I know that you've been a very busy person. So what have you been doing for the last a few days or past few months?
Anywhere where you work for children, you are always busy because the children require this, they require that, and since we are the voice of children, we are busy. For the last few weeks, I've been engaged in discussing issues of children in different levels and platforms. I've been in the ministry, particularly of health, looking into supporting and working with our government partners in the health systems and ensuring that service delivery for children is there. I've also been engaged in an activity which is climate resilient school systems. I've been to a school looking at what the school is doing, planting of the trees, and working around the schools to ensure that schools have a resilient foundation that learning can continue despite any disaster. I've also engaged with a couple number of our implementing partners in terms of the progress on some of the activities and programs that we work on the ground, and therefore all round it's about children. But even coming to my personal life, I like sightseeing, so I've been trekking a few here and there. I see the people, I see a beautiful culture, and a good people in Nepal.
So Nepal is treating you well so far?
Nepal is fantastic. It's treating me well so far. I love the culture. It's very rich of its culture. I love the people, very warm people, very welcoming people. And I love when I even engage with them, either at personal level or discussing about program. They're very open people and very good to work with.
So you've experienced a lot of time with these communities and people of Nepal. So when we talk about communities, when you travel through communities affected by flood, droughts or landslides, what do you see through a child's eye? How has the childhood changed? Is it through games or the rhythms or the small freedoms they have in these spaces?
I've traveled in Nepal quite a lot, and if I talk about UNICEF, we have offices in 4 provinces, and I've been to those provinces and some of the municipalities. We have an office in Madesh, we have an office in Surkhet, we have an office in Bairahawa, and we have an office in Dangadi. And as you can imagine, if our programs are there on the ground, it requires a lot of traveling, meeting people, meeting government at that level, and engaging and working. And when I travel to these places, I have time to sit down and talk with communities, talk with women, talk with men, talk with young people, and talk with children as well. I visit schools, I visit homes, and I have discussions at the community level. And what comes across to me, if I can mention, like when I went to Jajakot immediately after the flood, after the earthquake, and I see the children, I see the families, I see the devastation. Really for me, the broken school that once echoed with the laughter and happy children playing around, and how it has been devastated, and it now lies in ruins of bricks, with books, scattered all over the place. When I visit homes and I find a child standing by what used to be a home before and cuddling the only treasure that they can have, it could be a toy, it could be a book, or it could be just that one last dress that they managed to get.
Climate anxiety on children is always there. And so when a child loses their home or school, what does resilience feel like to them? Is it survival strength, or is it something more?
Many children I've talked with, and as I mentioned, I engage a lot with children. Like I just mentioned, early this week I was in a school and we were launching activities around resilient schools and how to ensure that children are active agents and they can be able to be part of the journey to walk within these climate disasters. And for most children, resilience begins as survival. It is when the tragedy strikes, and then it is coping with that loss and coping with that fear and the uncertainty and anxiety. But over time, it becomes a strength, because as they come out of that fear and rebuild back, they regain their joy, they regain their hope, and they are able to smile and continue with learning. And that springing back and forth, it gives children resilience, not only to build back, but to build with a forward looking.
So UNICEF often speaks about climate resilient schools and services. So what does that look like in the daily life of a teacher, a student, or even a parent, or youth-led innovations to give you a glimpse of Nepal's climate resilient future?
If I use the example of education system and climate resilient schools, what really this means is that children can keep learning and they can be safe and secure whatever the tragedy strikes. whether it's because of a climate-induced disaster or it's a natural disaster like an earthquake. But if we go straight to climate, it basically means that the school can bounce back, reopen, and continue learning. What does this mean to a teacher? That despite that disaster, children can continue learning, whether physically, but if they can't come to school physically, then how do the children still get access to the content and learn? This can be through modules which are prepared in advance and are given to children and are at home, and children can continue studying. Or this can be through online or virtual learning, where there is internet and there is gadgets, and that can be done on virtual. But we do know that some children can't access internet learning. But then how do we make sure that materials are available and children have books at home, children have content at home, and children can continue learning? For children, it's about how they can make their school more resilient, building trees around, ensuring they have clubs and they participate in this, they do gardening, they build trees, but they also now understand the impacts, and living through that, they become stronger, they know what to do when there is a flood, and they can take those actions together with their parents, and they can still remain safe and secure.
So how is the climate change reshaping the future of these families, and how does this impact their daily routines, from walking through floodwaters to fetching safe and clean drinking water, or even attending school? How do parents and children manage it?
Very good question, really good question. The climate crisis is changing daily lives in every aspect of life and in every corner of Nepal. We talk about floods, we talk about landslides, extreme heat, often which affects the lives of the young people, the mothers. And we also talk about roads that have been damaged, we talk about landslides, we talk about interrupting education. Really, it's the whole life. When you talk about floods, it's about the plants and what has been planted, and it affects food harvests.
Absolutely.
So it's the entire life cycle. But if I come back to the life of a child, it's loss in going to school and how to adjust to the hours of learning. When I talk to a family, it's about floods which came and all their crop was devastated, and therefore they don't have food for the family. And that also impacts on the children, whether young or older children, in terms of the activities. When it comes to water, it comes with also severe water shortages, because sometimes water sources are affected. So it really affects the entire life and it disrupts families. But more and more, we realize that children understand what it means, are gaining resilient, and they are talking about climate change honestly among themselves. They are mobilizing themselves in terms of what to do at home or in school. And therefore you see a group of young people that are informed and that are ready to action things they can do, but also advocate to what governments can do, to what parents can do, to what communities can do. So you see a future forward-looking people who want to be active to make the environment better for the future.
These children who have been through these natural calamities, they go through food insecurity as well. And for a very long time, they have managed to adapt to these circumstances, right? So how do you think traditional or local knowledge played helping these children and families adapt to it?
Fantastic question, because as you know, we all come from communities, and communities had their knowledge, and they understand the environments, and they understand the life around that context, and there is a lot of knowledge and wisdom in communities which has been passed down through generations. Communities have long built homes on raised grounds, communities knew seasons, and they knew how to store their harvests for both the winters and during the hot seasons. Communities planted trees along the river banks, and they knew seasons when the rivers would rise, and therefore they knew the protection measures they would put in place. Communities planted certain species of trees which they knew they are both medicinal, but they can also be used for firewood. So communities collectively have a lot of knowledge, understanding their own context. And the most important thing is how we pass this knowledge down, how we preserve it. But in addition to that, how we use also the latest knowledge and discoveries in science and research. And combining these with the traditional knowledge which comes from the context, and how we combine this so that we can make more resilient communities using both traditional knowledge but also what science has discovered through research. The technology has to work within the context and within the community. So getting those two together, it then comes up with innovative solutions that are context specifics and that can work within the communities.
So Alice, I want to talk about emotional and psychological impact on these children. So there are a lot of emerging climate activists and young climate activists, in fact, like Greta Thunberg is a great example. And the emotional toll of climate change on children is often seen as a silent one. So do you think they express their fears or hopes, or how do they express their fears?
Children can keep a lot, and they may not have an environment conducive for them to be able to express themselves. Because we know that sometimes when they are hurt, there is a lot that goes on in the mind, but then they don't have an environment they can express it and be able to be understood. So the emotional impact is very deep and not always visible, because you could see children quiet and seated down, but there is a lot going on in their minds. And what we see as we talk and work with children is that many children express their fears through drawings, through poems, through songs, through drama, and through their little stories amongst their peers. And if I can express, again, I go back to when I visit communities. When I visited this community in Jaja Court, and I had a discussion with the community people, and we wanted to understand how we can support, because their homes had been damaged, the water pipes had been damaged, and the schools were damaged, children were at home, they had lost their loved ones, so the impact was great. And as I sat there discussing with them, because it was the community and the community leaders were there, and the mothers and the fathers, and we were having a discussion. I mean, right next to me, on my right-hand side, seated on the grass, were a group of children. And they had little sticks, which I believed they wanted to play with the sticks, because, you know, children will always be children. Yeah. But then they were building little things, and they stuck them in the soil, and they put another one on top, and they built something on top, and it caught my attention. And at the end of the meeting with the community, I looked at the children, and they were smiling, and they were laughing and clapping. I said, "Hi, what have you been doing?" They said, "We were building a house." And I said, "Wow, what house is this? What were you thinking when you were building it?" And you know what they told me? They told me, "We are building a tall house, a strong house, that when we have an earthquake, our house will not fall down." This is a very powerful message, because the children are thinking Our houses are made of this material. Everything is fallen down. And therefore what we need is a very strong house. That talks about the foundations. It talks about resilience. It talks about how the children see it in the mind, what they can do and how they can do. And really that for me touched me. Because it's about what can we do? We need a better home. We need a better house. But it cannot be damaged the way our houses have been damaged. And that is another way of children bringing out what is troubling them in their mind. But at the same time, by building it and speaking to it, it helps them emotionally to be able to speak to the issues and get them out. So their creativity. And I've seen children come out of that. And I visited another one which was a temporary shelter that had been put in place for learning, a learning space. And there were tents, and children had been told to come back to school. Why? Because emotionally that helps children to be in school, to be together, to have games, to say their stories, to share with each other, and to be able to pour out their heart. And through that, the teachers also get a healing, and you can get a counselor who can be talking to the children.
So children obviously talk about the future differently now because of the experiences they had to experience and because of the climate anxiety as a whole. So
In the high mountains, where the air thins and silence deepens, an ancient discipline endures. More than art, this is meditation in motion. A prayer woven into canvas, finding the divine within. This is Thanka.
Thanka भने चाहिँ त्यो समतल भूमि भने हो के हैन त्यो स्पेस भने हो त्यो रेसेमा पनि तपाईले सेतो गणमा स्पेस देख्यो नि हैन हो त्यसमा चाहिँ का लेख्ने भने चाहिँ बुद्धको वचन लेख्ने भने हो के त्यो बुद्धको वचन बागल चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ शुद्ध छ हैन राम्रो छ त्यसले चाहिँ मानव जीवनलाई चाहिँ कल्याण मानव जीवनलाई मात्र नभएर प्राणी जगतलाई नै चाहिँ कल्याण गर्ने चीज हो थाङ्गा त्यही भएर चाहिँ जीवन जिउनेसँग चाहिँ रिलेटेड छ भनेर भने हो त्यो चाहिँ पञ्चतत्वको रूपमा चाहिँ त्यो चिनाएर त्यो तत्त्वलाई त्यो ठाउँमा जानुपर्छ भनेरको यो त आशयको रूपमा चाहिँ लगेको हुन्छ
Thanka painting is more than art. It's devotion on canvas, rooted in Buddha philosophy, traditions, and shaped by centuries of Buddhist influence. Each stroke tells a story of enlightenment.
This is not from painter's own mind. This is from the book. So painters, they have to strictly follow the rules. Through meditation, we can understand our true nature. And when we understand our true nature, we understand everybody. And our true nature is compassion. Our true nature is wisdom. And when we practice these things, we find peace, and that peace is permanent.
Thangka painting is not merely creation, it is consecration, rooted in Buddhist philosophy and perfected through centuries. Each brushstroke carries the weight of a mantra, each color a fragment of enlightenment.
खाइबो भन्छ हामीले चाहिँ आर्टिस्टलाई त्यो खाइबाले चाहिँ किन आएर चाहिँ ढोग्यो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ तीनचोटि ढोग्यो नि त्यो शरण गमन गरे हो कि म बुद्धको शरणमा छु भन्ने हो त्यो चाहिँ बुद्ध चित्त उत्पात गर्ने भन्छ कि चित्त तपाईको शुद्ध हुनु पर्यो हैन त्यो शुद्ध भएर लेखेको थाङ्गाले चाहिँ अरूलाई पनि राम्रो गर्ने पनि सबै प्राणी हितको लागि चाहिँ यो मैले गरेको लेखेको बुद्ध वचनले चाहिँ उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ राम्रो होस् भन्ने आशाका साथ चाहिँ छोड्नुपर्छ कि हो यसरी चाहिँ लेखेको हुन्छ थाङ्गा चाहिँ
The Thangka is a visual scripture, a spiritual map to transcendence. Every artist begins not with imagination, but with surrender to discipline, devotion, and compassion for all living beings. To paint is to meditate. To complete is to awaken. In today's studios, the old and the new converge. Tutors like Sushan Subedi introduce curious travelers to ancient grammar of lines and color.
All of the painting you are seeing over here, so these are known as Thangka, which is a Tibetan word which means the painting that is painted on a cotton surface. Okay, so first of all what we do is, we just take a normal cotton like this and we stretch it on a wooden frame very hardly and very tightly. Okay, so while tying it very hard on normal cotton, what happens is there are some millions of tiny holes. So if you pour the color can bleed. So we cannot do the painting on a normal cotton. So we have a process, we call it the process of canvas.
While at nearby workshops, artists like Sonam still lose themselves in the ritual of creation.
यो चाहिँ बम्बई ड्याङ कटन जुन यसैबाट चाहिँ हाम्रो ट्रेडिसनल आर्टको चाहिँ थाङ्का फर्स्ट प्रोसेसिङ चाहिँ यहीँबाट हुन्छ सरेस भन्ने गरिन्छ हामीले यो चाहिँ खासमा र याक स्किन भनेर चाहिँ प्रयोग गरिन्छ पहिलेको त्यो हिस्ट्री हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अनि अब यो चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ माध्यम चाहिँ यो ग्लुको काम गर्छ यसले चाहिँ यो र हामीले चाहिँ माटो मिसाएर चाहिँ यसमा पानी लगाएर अब यसको कति मात्रा उ गरेर तताइसकेपछि चाहिँ अनि अब हामीले कत्रो क्यानभस बनाउने कतिवटा बनाउने त्यो हिसाबले हामीले यो सरेस माटो भनिन्छ त्यो मिलाएर मात्रा मिलाएर हामीले प्रोसेसिङमा जानु सकिन्छ हामीले चाहिँ यो क्यानभस बनाउँदाखेरि समय अनुसार मौसम अनुसारले पनि बनाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ घाम लाग्ने बेलामा बनाउनु सक्यो भने हामीले छिटो आफ्नो कामहरु छिटो छरिदो बनाउन सकिन्छ र झरी पर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ हामीलाई निकै समय लाग्छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यो घाम लाग्ने बेलामा हामीले बनाउन सक्यौं भने छिटो अनि यसलाई आफुलाई चाहिने मात्रामा पटक पटक यता दुई साइडमा चाहिँ क्लिन गर्नु सफा गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ अनि कतिको मात्रा हामीलाई चाहिन्छ त्यो पुगिसकेपछि हामीले त्यसपछि स्केचमा जानुपर्ने हुन्छ यो सुकिसकेपछि चाहिँ एउटा यसरी पनि हामीले चेक गर्न सकिन्छ हामीले कतिको तयारी भयो भएन यो आवाज आउनु पर्ने हुन्छ जस्तै अब ओसिएको छ भने बेग्लै आवाज आउँछ सुकेको छ भने राम्रो आवाज आउँछ यो
Thangka painting begins with the canvas stretched tight, once upon wood, now upon iron frames. The glue that seals it, once drawn from the yak, now sourced from the maple or synthesized in a lab. Yet in the scent of drying paste, the artist still reads the readiness of the soul of the painting.
So after the sketching is done, second thing we do is the coloring. So while coloring, we have different levels of artists in our school. Like from the beginner level, we have intermediate and the master level of artists. So if you go with the beginner intermediate, they use the acrylic colors. But if you go with the master level of artists, so they use the stone colors like this. Okay, so why they use the stone color is stone being a natural color. So while we apply this sort of color in the art, it remains for the longer period of time, because natural thing, it doesn't have expiry date. Yeah, so the meaning and the philosophy of an art, the art itself, it is preserved for the longer period of time. So that's why they use the stone. And for the finishing of an art, so we use 24-karat real gold on the painting. Okay, so why we use the gold is not to make the painting very expensive, but if you see in Hinduism, in Buddhism, gold, it is signified as in purity. So to purify the meaning and the philosophy behind the art, so we use 24-karat real gold.
Every line follows a rule, every proportion holds meaning. The face of the deity isn't imagined, it slowly reveals itself, guided by sacred patterns that keep harmony between the world outside and the spirit within. The colors come from the earth, crushed stones and minerals mixed with glue, made to last for generations. Lapis brings purity, malachite speaks of compassion, and cinnabar carries wisdom. These are just colors, they are prayers in pigment.
प्राचीन कालमा चाहिँ यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ पाँचवटा कलर लेख्ने हो। पाँच कलर जस्तो अग्नि तत्त्व, वायु तत्त्व, माटो तत्त्व, हावा तत्त्व, पाँच तत्त्वले बनाएको हो। त्यो पाँच तत्त्वले किन बनाएको भने त्यो पाँच तत्त्वबाट हाम्रो शरीर बनाएको छ नि। यो थाङ्गा भनेको चाहिँ वास्तवमा के हो भने जे जति थाङ्गामा त्यो हामीसँगै छ, जे हामीसँग त्यो थाङ्गामै छ। त्यसकारण त्यो बेला चाहिँ त्यो नेचुरल, हामीले पनि नेचुरली बनाएको हो नि त, प्रकृतिले बनाएको नि, थाङ्गा पनि प्रकृति नै हो। त्यसमा अलिक अहिले चाहिँ कलर के छ भने पाँचवटा कलरबाट हामीले मिसाउँदाखेरि अर्को कलर बन्छ। त्यो पाँचवटा कलर मात्रै पुग्दैन। त्यो बेला त्यो रियालिटी थाङ्गाबाट नजिक बसेर साधना गर्दा हामीलाई त्यो भाइब्रेसन आउँछ, पोजिटिभ कुरा आउँछ। यो त खालि बुद्ध जुन बुद्धले टिकाको टिचिङ गर्नुभएको नेचुरल फेनोमेना छ नि, नेचर माइन्ड छ नि, त्योसँग रिलेटेड छ यो।
Home Bahadur Tamang, a gifted Thanga artist from the spiritual heart of Bodha, has turned his craft into a global bridge between tradition and business.
थाङ्गा चाहिँ मैले 1970 सिक्न सुरुवात गरेको। मेरो टिचर चाहिँ म भन्दा अघिल्लो मेरो दाइ हो, साइला दाइ। मेरो चाहिँ बाउपादेखि नै कलाकार हुनुहुन्थ्यो। पाटन, भक्तपुर, छामेल, दरबार स्क्वायरमा यसै पसल बेच्ने काम हुन्थ्यो। अनि त्यो बेच्दा मैले यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ विदेशीले किन्दो रहेछ, आफैले विदेशसँग बेच्नुपर्छ भन्ने अलिकति मनमा मलाई अलिकति सोच आयो। त्यसपछि मैले 2050 सालमा यहाँ सुरु गरेँ, आजभन्दा 32 वर्ष अगाडि।
What began as a young artist's journey through the streets of Kathmandu has blossomed into a thriving enterprise where sacred art meets business and tourism. With every brushstroke, Home brings Nepal's rich spiritual heritage to the world, transforming Thanga painting into a symbol of cultural fusion.
त्यो बेला चाहिँ पसल कोही पनि यहाँ थिएन, किनभने त्यो मार्केटले चाहिँ कहाँ मार्केट हुन्छ भन्ने खोज्दो रहेछ। त्यो खोज्ने क्रममा म यहाँ आइपुग्यो। विदेशीहरू पनि यहाँ त्यति अहिले जस्तो बस्दैन, 5 मिनेट 10 मिनेटमा घुमेर जानुहुन्थ्यो। त्यतिखेर खाने रेस्टुरेन्ट पनि एकजना मात्रै थियो, एउटा मात्रै थियो। अहिले चाहिँ होस् त्यो बेला र अहिलेमा धेरै आकाश जमिनको फरक भएको छ।
His story is one of passion, innovation, and a deep commitment to preserving tradition while embracing the future.
विशेष गरी यो बौद्ध स्तूपसँग रिलेटेड छ। यो बुद्धको शिक्षासँग रिलेटेड यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ संसारको मानिसहरू यो स्तूपलाई घुम्ने क्रममा यो प्रार्थना गर्ने मेन आउने ठाउँ चाहिँ यो रहेछ। त्यसो भएको हुनाले यो चाहिँ विशेष गरी ओल्ड हेरिटेज साइटमा चाहिँ त्यो पनि के हो बुद्धिस्टको भएको हुनाले चाहिँ नेपालभरि कुनै थाङ्का बिक्ने ठाउँ चाहिँ अति महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ यो नै हो वास्तवमा, किनभने रिलेटिभ छ यो बुद्धसँग।
From the hills of Ramechhap to the heart of Bodh, Kom Bahadur Damang has a glorious story to tell. A story of will, determination, struggle and success.
म आफै पनि रामेछाप दुर्गम जिल्लामा जन्मेको चाहिँ नि रोजगार छैन, त्यहाँ स्कुल छैन, कलेज छैन, हस्पिटल छैन, रोजगार छैन। त्यसपछि म पनि रोजगारकै क्रममा यहाँ आएर मैले सुरुवात गर्यो। अहिले चाहिँ म लगभग 49 वर्ष भयो यही पेसा गरेर दाल भात खाएको। अब नयाँ पुस्तालाई पनि मैले हस्तान्तरण गर्नुपर्छ है भन्ने मेरो एउटा उद्देश्यले चाहिँ अहिले मैले नयाँ पुस्तालाई चाहिँ गाउँबाट आउनुहुन्छ स्कुल सकेर अनि बिहान चाहिँ कलेज जानुहुन्छ, दिउँसो काम छैन। त्यस कारणले मैले 3 महिना फ्री ट्रेनिङ दिने गरेको छ। उहाँको स्किल आन्सर टेस्ट गरेर हामीले यहीँ तलब दिएर जस्तो बिहान कलेज पनि भ्यायो उसको कति हो त्यसो त्यहाँबाट एक्स्ट्रा टाइम चाहिँ 5 घण्टा 6 घण्टा 7 घण्टा मैले पनि यहाँ जीवन चलाउने चाहिँ काम भइरहेको छ अहिले।
For 49 years, he painted, taught and empowered young artisans. Today, his school preserves tradition and creates futures.
हामीले यहाँ सुरुमा इन्टरभ्यू लिन्छु, त्यसपछि 1 हप्ता चाहिँ नि सानो र क्यानभासमा हात ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु, त्यसको शरीरको बडीहरू अलिकति ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु अनि 1 हप्तापछि ओके भनेर ओके या यस भने कोही मानिस नसक्ने चाहिँ नि आधा घण्टामा 1 घण्टामा उठेर गइहाल्छ। म सक्दैन, ढाड दुख्यो, किन उसको मन धेरै भएर गयो, त्यो सक्दैन, आउँदैन, 1 दिन पनि आउँदैन। मात्रै आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो। हामीले अपाङ्गलाई पनि सिकाएको छ, जस्तो बाहिर कान नसुन्ने पनि सिकाएको छ, आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो, त्यस्तै हो।
As interest in Buddhism grows worldwide, so does the appreciation for our sacred art. Foreigners now come not just to admire but to learn, studying our architecture techniques and meditative Thanka traditions, giving new life to what was once known only within our borders.
बुद्धिज्म नेपाल हो। नेपालमा जति छन् विश्व सम्पदामा सूचीमा भएको मठ मन्दिर गुम्बद छ, यसैबाट उहाँले पनि सिकेको वास्तवमा। यो जुन बौद्ध स्तूपरा भनौँ लुम्बिनी त्यो जस्तो उहाँहरूले बनाउन सक्दैन, तर यसको चाहिँ एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण के छ भगवान या चाहिँ दोस्रो तेस्रो बुद्धको रिलेटिभ यहाँ छ। जति चाहिँ अहिले संसारमा यो बुद्धिज्म फैलिँदै जान्छ, यो महायान बुद्धिज्म त्यत्तिकै ठाङ्गको भ्यालु चाहिँ बढ्दैछ अहिले। जस्तो मेरै कुरा मैले 40-45 वर्ष यति ठाङ्गको महत्त्व थिएन, किनभने वर्ल्ड वाइडमा बुद्धिज्ममा थिएन, विदेशहरूले जानेकै थिएन। उनीहरूले त्यो सुरसुर आउँदाखेरि सानो एउटा नेपाल आउँदाखेरि सुपर नेट किन नलैजाऊ भन्ने मान्दै लाइन्थ्यो। अहिले चाहिँ उहाँहरू चाहिँ जस्तो अमेरिका, युरोप, तपाईँको यो सिङ्गापुर, ताइवान, मलेसिया विभिन्न देशमा चाहिँ अहिले बुद्धिस्ट प्र्याक्टिसनर धेरै उहाँहरू चाहिँ गर्नुहुन्छ। त्यसको लागि चाहिँ एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण छ। त्यस कारणले भविष्यमा यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ छ, यसको मार्केट छ।
As an artist, entrepreneur and a master, he feels fulfilled, creating beauty, guiding others and living with purpose.
मैले संसार जीवन जगतलाई थाहा पायो। अहिले हामी सांसारिक जीवन छ, सांसारिक जीवनमा कसरी जिउने र अर्कोलाई पनि कसरी जिउन दिने कला थाहा पायो। त्यसपछि अब जुन देशमा जन्मे पनि जुन कुलमा जन्मे पनि 100% निश्चित के हो भने मृत्यु छ। त्यो त निश्चित हो नि, एउटै निश्चित छैन, कहिले पनि निश्चित छैन। तर त्यो मर्नेमा म कसरी मर्ने भन्ने कला पनि थाहा पाएँ मलाई त धेरै परिवर्तन भएको छ। मैले परिवर्तन भयो भने के हुन्छ, मैले ठुलो पचेरो चढ्यो ठुलो गाडी त्यस्तो होइन, तर मलाई खुसी छ। सादा दाल भात खान पाएछ, मैले परिवार पाल्नु पाएछ। यही थाङ्गाले म जापान घुम्यो, युरोप गयो, चाइना घुम्यो, बुद्धिस्ट कन्ट्री सबै घुमेको छ। सबै ठाउँमा मैले घुम्नलाई मलाई पैसाको आपत पनि परेन। थाङ्गा सँगसँगै लान्दै ब्रिफिङ गर्दै बेच्दै दर्शन बेचेको हो। त्यस कारण मलाई त एकदम खुसी छु म त पनि।
Then comes the awakening, the eyes. Until that moment, the thangka is silent. When the artist paints the peoples, the deity is invited to reside within. The canvas breathes, the prayer begins. From quiet Himalayan ateliers to the galleries in Tokyo, Berlin, and New York, thangkas now travel far beyond the monasteries. They adorn homes, museums, and collectors' walls, a global symbol of Nepal's artistic devotion.
Mostly, Thanka word itself is a Tibetan word, so this tradition belongs to Tibetan people. This tradition belongs to Tamang. This tradition belongs to Newar community. Although they have different expression of color, technique, the detail, but this tradition, this culture belongs to this three community, and this is kind of passed on tradition. They learn this skill from their forefather to the new generation. This is how this tradition has been continuing and preserving. So it is beneficial for them to live their life, and it is beneficial for the country because this is a culture, and culture and tradition is the treasure of each country.
The trade sustains thousands. From the hum of Bodh's alleys to export crates bound for distant lands, thangka has become a vital thread in Nepal's creative economy. Yet, as markets grow, so does the tension between faith and fame, between meditation and merchandise.
कला चाहिँ दुवै राम्रै हो हैन आफ्नो आफ्नै फिलोसफी भन्ने हो यसले चाहिँ तपाईको मन भित्रको डेप्थमा जाने सिकाउने हो यसमा चाहिँ यो चाहिँ मिहिन काम हुन्छ कठिन पनि हुन्छ के किनभने यसमा चाहिँ तपाईले चाहिँ अघिको जस्तो धेरै चीजहरु चाहिँ लिनुपर्छ अनुशासन लिनु पर्यो हैन यसको विधि विधानमा बसेर गर्नुपर्छ यसमा चाहिँ अब त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको मनमा जुन फिलिङ्स आउँछ त्यो लेखिहाल्ने हो के त्यो गर्दाखेरि त्यसले पनि ओलमा चलिरहेछ यसले चाहिँ नेपालले किन अब त्यसलाई चाहिँ कम्पिटिसन गर्न सक्छ भने चाहिँ यो चीज चाहिँ अरूले गर्न सक्दैन किनभने त्यसमा मेडिटेसन ध्यान जस्तै गर्नुपर्छ के सरकारी स्कुलबाट चाहिँ स्कुलिङ देखि नै गर्नुपर्छ यसको पाठ्यक्रमहरु बनाउनु पर्छ हैन एउटा त्यो गरिसकेपछि यसको प्रमोट हुन्छ हैन हामीलाई चाहिने त त्यो प्रवर्धन हो नि तर ब्याङ्किङहरुले पनि के गर्नु पर्यो भने यसलाई चाहिँ बिना दिदोमा पनि के रे ऋण दिने वातावरण हैन कलाकारको के छुटाएर के अनि तपाईको हामीले ट्याक्स तिर्नु पर्छ ट्याक्स तिर्दाखेरि पनि कुनै एउटा चीज चाहिँ कलाकारलाई कुन ओदामा राखेर त्यसको एउटा ब्यालेन्स एउटा गरेर सरकारले गरिदियो भने यसको जन अझ फ्रस्टिन्छ के फ्रस्टिएपछि त यो नेपालकै लागि चाहिँ यसले चाहिँ पर्यटनलाई पनि विकास हुने अनि त्यो स्कुल कलेजमा भयो भने पुस्ता हस्तान्तरण चाहिँ एकदम दिगो हुन्छ के
All the Thanka has same meaning of peace. So foreigner, they admire philosophy. Practitioner also, they choose deities mostly to practice, to visualize, and they imagine the quality of deities with themselves. And some least person, they want it as a souvenir to decorate for the positive vibe. Some they buy it for the gift for their loved one. Philosophy reminds us about the beautiful quality, and that quality gives us peace, and that peace is everyone searching for. So Thanka painting is very, very important for everyone because it is relevant with our life. If it is relevant with our life, that is truth.
But beyond commerce and canvas, a thangka is still a mirror, reflecting a way of life where art and spirit breathe as one. Every brush that moves today carries the echo of generations, an unbroken whisper from monastery walls to the modern world. As the sun sets over the Himalayas, somewhere an artist bows before a finished thangka. His work is now complete, his prayer released. For in every stroke lies a journey, from pigment to prayer, from devotion to eternity. This is not just Nepal's art, it is Nepal's soul, painted into time.
स्वागत छ लुक्लामा तपाईहरुलाई राम्रोसँग आउनुभयो के प्लेनमा डरहरु लाग्नु भएन प्लेन भित्तैमा ठोकेला जस्तो हुन्छ यहाँ त
At an altitude of 2860 meters, Lukla is the starting point of arguably one of the best trekking routes in the world, up to the Mount Everest base camp, finishing above 5,400 meters. Ram is one of hundreds of seasonal porters in the route.
अब यो त मान्छेलाई पनि यस्तै हो सजिलो त सर यो किनभने हिलो हुँदैन बेस क्याम्प जाँदा अब क्याम्पको 1000 रुपैयाँ हुन्छ डबल बारी बोकेर अब 2-3 क्याम्प जति हिँडिन्छ त्यतिखेर चाहिँ 5000 जति बच्छ
The route is popular, in fact crowded. This is only for the 2 months of April and May, and so is the profession of Ram a seasonal affair.
अब कुनै खेर पाइन्छ कुनै खेर पाइँदैन मान्छे यतिकै हुन्छ त अब कुनै खेर त अब 4-5 दिन यतिकै बसेकै बजारतिर आयो घुम्यो यतिकै फेरि कोठामा फर्केर आयो अब बाकी खाना खादै बस्यो त्यस्तै हो सर विदेश जाउँ त अब लाग्छ जानुलाई पनि फेरि अलिक गाह्रो छ पैसा चाहिन्छ अब पैसा छैन त्यो पेशामा पढाइ चाहिँ पुरुषहरु नै हुन्छ महिलाहरु पनि आधी उधी हुन्छ सर बिहानदेखि कहिले अब घाम लागिरहन्छ एकछिनमा यस्तो बादल आइहाल्छ डुममा भइहाल्छ यहाँको मौसम यस्तै हो सर पढेको भए त बाँकी अब सानोतिनो जबहरु हुन्थ्यो कि
Trekkers pass through nearly 6-7 small hamlets along the Lukla-Namche section of the route.
यहाँ सबै घरमा बिजुली पानीको राम्रो व्यवस्था छ सर
The locals do not have infrastructures or might have rejected roads, but they have embraced development.
नाम चाहिँ लुक्ला सबै बाटो भरि नै फोहोर राख्ने बाटो राखिदिनु भएको छ
The topography is inhospitable, but the people are friendly.
यहाँ हरेक गाउँको आफ्नो आफ्नै हाइड्रो बिजुली निकाल्ने पावर छ.
Solar panels give much needed warm water to survive the cold. No wonder everything comes at a cost here. Charging a cell phone or getting a Wi-Fi connection.
पहिला साह्रै दुःख पाइयो. मम्मी सानैमा बित्यो. अनि पढ्नै पाएन. यस्तो दुःख गर्नु पर्छ. अनि छोराछोरीलाई चाहिँ अब यस्तो दुःख गरेर भए पनि पढाउँछु. अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्ने भए त अब कति अब खैराहरू भेट्छन्. हिजो पनि 4 जना भेटेको थियो फाल्टो ग्रुप. अब अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्न जानिदैन त्यही भएर पठाइदियो. ल अब यहाँ चाहिँ खाना खाने ठाउँ हो. यहाँ खाना खानु पर्यो.
हजुर सबभन्दा धेरै थुक्पा नै हो. किनभने अरू खाजा पनि जान्छ नि त जानु त. बनायो भने जान्छ तर त्यो सकिहालेन भने फेरि त्यो बिग्रिन्छ के अमिलो.
Food is no more cooked in firewood like in the past, despite LP gas cylinders arriving either on humans' back or the beast of burdens. Our first day trek concludes at Phakding, a small hamlet at an altitude of 2,610 meters. Almost all trekkers lodge here on the first day to acclimatize themselves for higher elevations. The place has amenities for travelers at par with an urban town, except roads and infrastructures.
यहाँ यो फलामको चिम्नी नभएको त गरै हुँदैन सर. यहाँ त फलामको चिम्नी भएन भने त जाडोले मर्ने हुन्छ.
As the dawn breaks, Ram emerges from his overnight elopement for lodging.
अब जाने होला सर उकालो. यो अलिक सपना बिग्रियो. अनि त्यति राम्रो सुतेन. सपनामा त खै कस्तो अचम्मको सपना देख्यो. सपनामा चाहिँ बुढी चाहिँ अर्कैसँग गएको देखेको. खै केही कुरामा चाहिँ डिस्केस भएको जस्तो भयो. अनि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ कपडा सपडा प्याक गरेर हिँडेको सपना देख्यो. के गर्न सकिएन. खै कहिले के गर्ने हो मान्छे. बुढी राम्रो छ. सपना चाहिँ त्यस्तो देख्यो. कस्तो अचम्म लाग्यो. बुढी फेरि मभन्दा ठुलो छ कि. मभन्दा त राम्री पनि छ ठुलो पनि छ. त्यस्तो सपना देख्दा चाहिँ कुनै खेर चाहिँ अब डर पनि लाग्छ क्या. पछि अब छोडेर हिँडिने हो कि अब आफूसँग केही नभएपछि त होइन अब हिँडिने हो कि जस्तो पनि लाग्छ. यो सागो हो. यो सागो चाहिँ काठको बनाएको. यो बर्खामा ठुलो पानी आउँछ. ठुलो खोला हुँदाखेरि त बगाएर लगिहाल्छ. फेरि बनाउँछ. यो चाहिँ पारी घाँस दाउराको लागि बनाउँछ.
The Khumbu region has more than a dozen suspension and concrete bridges to safely cross the Dudh Kosi, meaning Milk White Kosi and its tributaries. As we continue our steep climb towards Namche Bazaar, we pass through freshly felled pine trees.
यो चाहिँ घरको लागि काठ काटेको हो. यो घरको काठ काट्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो निस्केको दाउरा हो सर. यो दाउरा अब सधैँभरि फुल्दैन. कुनै बेला फुल्दाखेरि चाहिँ काट्ने हो.
Only permitted numbers are cut every year, while the locals do not forget to grow pine saplings in their backyard to replace the cut ones. This is the entry point of Sagarmatha National Park, a buffer zone guarded by Nepal Army. The small hamlet of around 200 houses is no less than a modern town as we venture around the next morning with Ram. We not only discover Ram's free-of-cost night lodge, but also a secret tavern where porters gather to gamble.
टुरिस्ट आएन भने त अब यहाँ त अब गाह्रो छ नि सर. अब आलु मात्रै फलाएर अब के खानु यहाँ. त्यो पनि अब आलु धेर फल्दैन. कम फल्छ. टुरिस्ट आएन भने त धेरै गाह्रो छ सर. अब छनु त छ कि अझ योभन्दा राम्रो. योभन्दा नि अब राम्रो अब घरहरू बनाओस्. राम्रो सरसफाइ होस्. अब राम्रो सुविधा होस्. त्यहाँदेखि चाहिँ आउँछ यहाँ त अब त्यस्तो मोटरहरू आयो भने त फेरि हामीलाई गाह्रो भइहाल्छ नि सर अब हामी पोटरहरू फेरि त्यत्तिकै हुन्छ बेरोजगार हुन्छ अब हाम्रो त अब खै जिन्दगी त अब यस्तोले त अब गाह्रै हो तर अब के गर्नु त सर अब खासै अब केही अब गर्ने बाटै छैन हाम्रो अब यही नै हो हाम्रो त
A phone call from Lukla upsets us more than Ram, as he misses a much better opportunity to accompany trekkers to the base camp. The weather remains unfavorable as we fail to catch a glimpse over the Mount Everest. With a bit of dejection for not being able to see the roof of the world, we start our journey back to Lukla. On the way, Ram gives us a good news. He got another lucrative trip.
अब चाहिँ अलिक चाँडो जानु पर्ला हो सर अब आजै म फेरि फर्केर नाम्ची पुग्नु पर्ने छ
Back at Lukla, Ram prepares himself for the 14-day trip to the base camp with high hopes for making decent earning. It's time to part now, as Ram bids us goodbye in a haste in Lukla to make his dream come true. A roof for his wife and education for his little princess.
What if I told you a story of a place shrouded in mystery and steeped in stones? A place where warriors were born and raised, and their path through the mountains still remain to this day. Ajirkot Gorkha, the unbeaten kingdom.
हामी पाहुनाहरू आउनु हुँदाखेरि हामी यसरी स्वागत गर्छौं अनि अलि-अलि नाचगानहरू देखाउँछौं। मेरो सिंह नेपाल गाउँकी गोरखामा गर्व लाग्छ जन्मिएछु साथै स्वर्गमा म त नेपालकी छोरी भन्छन् गोर्खाली। जस्तो घाटु चुड्काहरू भन्ने चाहिँ विशेष गरी हुन्छ यहाँ।
For those seeking a luxurious escape, there are stunning lodges that offer an indulgent retreat amidst the rugged beauty of this place. But for the true adventurers, this place has it all, from trekking through dense forest of Nagapokari trails to exploring ancient temples and learning the rich history of the region. So, what do you fancy? Are you the solo explorer, or do you prefer luxury within nature? Or perhaps you are the one who seeks to witness it all. Well, after all, life is a box of chocolates, and this place is filled with surprises. Welcome to the place where magic and reality intertwine, where the wonders of nature are both breathtaking and awe-inspiring. From the elevations of 300 meters to a towering 8,000 meters, this place will leave you mesmerized and in awe.
Ukraine is preparing to present a revised peace plan to the White House as it seeks to avoid making territorial concessions to Russia. Kiev is set to propose alternatives to the U.S. after President Volodymyr Zelensky again ruled out surrendering land, saying he had no right to do so under Ukrainian or international law. He made the comments as he met European and NATO leaders on Monday, part of a collective push to deter the U.S. from backing a peace deal, which includes major concessions for Ukraine and which allies fear would leave it vulnerable to a future invasion. Meanwhile, the city of Sumy in northwestern Ukraine was left without power overnight after a Russian drone attack. The region's governor said more than a dozen drones had hit power infrastructure, the latest in Russia's nightly attack. Zelensky's ongoing diplomatic tour of Europe comes after days of intensive talks between US and Ukrainian negotiators over the weekend that failed to produce a deal Kiev could agree to. Zelensky was due to be briefed on that private summit on Monday by his chief negotiator Rustem Umerov, who wrote on Telegram that he would feed back details of direct talks between the US and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Thailand says it is taking action to expel Cambodian forces from its territory as renewed fighting between the two Southeast Asian neighbors spread along their disputed border. Each side has blamed the other for the clashes, which have derailed a fragile ceasefire brokered by United States President Donald Trump that ended 5 days of fighting in July. Trump has urged both sides to honor the truce. In a statement on Tuesday morning, the Thai Navy said Cambodian forces had been detected inside Thai territory in the coastal province of Trat and military military operations have been launched to expel them without providing further details. Cambodia's influential former leader Hun Sen said his country had retaliated in the reignited border clashes after Phnom Penh denied fighting back for 2 days. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet said that Thailand must not use military force to attack civilian villages under the pretext of reclaiming its sovereignty. The Thai Navy said Cambodian forces were increasing their presence, deploying snipers and heavy weapons, improving fortified positions and digging trenches, adding it saw the actions as a direct and serious threat to Thailand's sovereignty. Tensions have simmered since Thailand last month suspended de-escalation measures that were agreed at a summit at Trump's presence after a Thai soldier was injured by a landmine that Bangkok said was newly laid by Cambodia. At least 30 people have been injured after a magnitude 7.5 earthquake hit northeastern Japan on Monday night, forcing thousands of people to evacuate their homes. The quake occurred at a depth of 50 kilometers, the Japan Meteorological Agency said. It prompted tsunami warnings, which have now been lifted, while waves of 70 centimeters were witnessed. Some train services have been suspended and thousands of homes have been left without power as a result. Authorities have also warned that a stronger tremor could occur in the coming days, urging the public to remain on high alert for at least a week, according to local media reports. The Aomori prefectural government said around 2,700 homes have been left without power. East Japan Railway also has suspended some services along the northeastern border. The Japanese government, meanwhile, has set up a response office within the Prime Minister's Crisis Management Center and convened an emergency team. Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto is in Islamabad for a 2-day official visit, his first as head of state to Pakistan. He was welcomed by Shehbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and other senior officials. The visit comes at a significant moment. Indonesia is grappling with deadly floods and landslides that have caused widespread devastation. Shehbaz Sharif had said Pakistan will also send its doctors, dentists, medical professionals, and other related experts to Indonesia to fulfill its requirements in the field of medicine. The visit is expected to witness the signing of several memorandum of understanding with both countries, said to advance cooperation in trade, investment, defense, health, information technology, climate initiatives, education, and culture. Discussions will also cover enhancing coordination at regional and global forum. This is President Subianto's first trip to Pakistan and the first visit by an Indonesian head of state since 2018, when former President Joko Widodo visited the country. Northern Japan is experiencing severe winter conditions as heavy snowfall blankets wide areas of Hokkaido. The Japan's meteorological agency has issued strong warnings, urging residents to remain cautious amid increasing risk of avalanches, reduced visibility, and dangerous road conditions. Officials also cautioned that the weight of accumulating snow on power lines and roofs could lead to structural damages or power outages. Local communities have begun large-scale snow clearing efforts, but officials say conditions may worsen as the cold front continues to move across northern Japan. In Turkey, two remarkable forests in the lakes region, Kasnak Oak Forest in Isparta and the Sweet Gum Forest in Burdur, offer breathtaking landscapes of gold, amber, and crimson. In Isparta's Egirdiv district, the world's only Kasnak Oak Forest, covering 1,300 hectares, has once again taken on its vibrant autumn identity. Home to giant oak trees towering up to 30 meters high and estimated to be over 400 years old, the area captivates visitors with its rich palette of orange and red hues. Declared a strictly protected sensitive area in 2019, the Kasnak Oak Nature Conservation Area is accessible only for educational and scientific research purposes. The forest hosts remarkable biodiversity containing 442 plant species, 62 of which are endemic. Protected by the General Directorate of Nature Conservation and National Parks, the site was designated a Nature Conservation Area in 1987 and can be entered only with special permission for scientific research. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano continues to put on a dramatic display nearly a year after its eruptive phase began. Newly released footage from the U.S. Geological Survey captures vivid scenes of fresh lava mountains bursting from the volcano's vents, sending glowing arcs of molten rock into the air. The sustained activity highlights why Kilauea remains one of the world's most active and closely monitored volcanoes. Scientists note that while the current eruption is confined to remote areas within the volcano's summit region, continued monitoring is essential as conditions can shift rapidly. The ongoing spectacle has drawn global attention, offering a striking reminder of the powerful geological forces shaping the Hawaiian Islands. At this year's Dakar Fashion Week, the traditional runway was replaced by an extraordinary sight: models gracefully gliding on pirogues, the traditional wooden boats of Senegal, ferrying between Dakar and picturesque island of Noor. The innovative setup turned the waters into a runway, merging fashion, culture, and the natural beauty of the Atlantic coast. The theme was the ocean, the magic of the sea, and fashion combined, according to Senegalese designer and event organizer Adama Paris, who curated the show. Models showcased flowing designs inspired by marine motifs, shimmering fabrics, and bold colors that mirrored the waves, creating a mesmerizing interplay between the artistry of fashion and the rhythm of the sea. The event highlighted not only Senegal's vibrant fashion scene, but also its creativity in blending tradition with modernity, leaving spectators in awe of a truly unforgettable floating runway. Colombians welcomed the Christmas season with the enchanting glow of the Night of the Candles, one of the country's most beloved traditions. In Bogota, the capital's streets, balconies, and public squares shimmered as tens of thousands of candles and lanterns were lit by families, neighbors, and visitors. The celebration, rooted in Catholic tradition, symbolizes hope, gratitude, and the guiding light of the Virgin Mary. Many describe the night as both magical and liturgical, blending a spiritual reflection with festive community gatherings. The Night of Candles marks the official start of Christmas festivities across Colombia, ushering in a season of lights, music, and celebration that continues throughout December. Moscow Zoo has announced the birth of 4 Amur tiger cubs at the Reproduction Center for Rare Species. The mother, a tigress named Shiva, had been pregnant for about 100 days. Toward the end of her pregnancy, zoo staff observed Shiva becoming more reclusive and less active. After birth, the litter was confirmed to include 2 male and 2 female cubs. This is especially significant because Amur tigers are considered one of the world's rare and endangered big cats. Captive births such as this help sustain genetic diversity and support global conservation efforts for the species. Given the cub's endangered status, this birth represents a hopeful milestone in efforts to preserve and perhaps one day reintroduce Amur tigers in areas where their numbers have dwindled.
Only after 6 decades of the institutional development of the now popular game of cricket did Nepal get the opportunity to play in the World Cup. Although cricket was introduced in Nepal during the Rana regime, the sport was confined to a limited number of people, namely the elite. It all started with equipment brought by students returning from their studies in Britain and India. Although Cricket Association of Nepal (CAN) was established in 1947, cricket remained centered among a few affluent individuals and in limited tournaments for a long time. Starting with the Bishnu Trophy in 1948, tournaments were limited to competitions like the Madan Memorial Sealed, Jugal Kishore Trophy, Rammani Trophy, and later the Jaya Trophy. Even as the sport expanded outside Kathmandu Valley, it took decades for cricket to develop at the grassroots level. After the International Cricket Council (ICC) granted Nepal affiliate membership in 1988, Nepali cricket embarked on its international journey. The rule of mandatory participation in tournaments by the ICC and the Asian Cricket Council (ACC) opened doors to international competition for Nepal. After participating in the Under-19 Asian tournament in Hong Kong in 1996, Nepal has not looked back. Winning titles at the Asian and global levels, Nepali cricket team continues its journey towards the pinnacle of world cricket.
Goes down the ground because he was given that line outside off stump. So the first boundary of the contest, a handsome one.
Initially confined to Tulikhel in Kathmandu, many international tournaments were hosted in Nepal after an international standard ground was built in Kirtipur. Nepal has also shown its proactiveness in differently abled cricket tournaments like the T20 World Cup for the blind in 2012 and the Asian Cricket Tournament for the deaf. Nepali women's national cricket team has also achieved remarkable success in a short period of time. The latest addition in Nepali cricket is the floodlit Tribhuvan University Cricket Stadium and the Nepal Premier League that has provided opportunity for Nepali players to rub shoulders with world-class players.
After around 7 hours drive from federal capital Kathmandu comes Dhunche Bazar, the district headquarters of Rasuwa. Further ahead from Dhunche, demographically and ethnic mix, we reach Kerung custom point along Nepal-China border. However, we are headed to another destination. We are going to Gosai Kunda, a beautiful pilgrimage situated 4,380 meters above the sea level and a perfect mix of adventure and spiritualism. Our trek begins from this very place. With excitement and energy alike, our journey to Gosai Kunda starts from Dhunche Bazar. This is a famous religious tourism site, especially twice a year on Janai Purnima and Ganga Dasara fair in Chester. Thousands of devotees throng this holy place. The first 1 hour of the trek up to Ghatte Khola is largely straight. This is where pilgrims take a tea break and some rest to prepare themselves for the uphill walk. There's a mini Gosai Kunda here as well. Uphill walk through the pine forest and natural diversity continues as we approach few lodges on the way. After nearly about 2 hours of trek, we reach Deurali. Another resting place for pilgrims and trekkers. Sip of tea in this freezing weather is a luxury these small hotels offer. This is also a well-known viewpoint to see the southern districts. The tharpus or shelters built and preserved by the Gosai Kunda Area Development Committee are found almost everywhere on the way. With more excitement than fatigue, the journey continues from Deurali. It's still a long way and it's difficult to reach our destination today itself. Fatigue is visible on the faces of these travelers. In an hour or so, we reach Dingsa. This is a junction of Gosai Kunda with another route mixing here. Tharpus and light snacks are available here as well. The trail, though uphill, is not very difficult. The natural beauty of the area, mild weather, and many travelers make the arduous journey much easier. Chandanbari is the next place after about an hour's walk. This is a small but beautiful hamlet for tourists. Cozy but clean and hygienic hotels are found here. Many tourists travel up to Chandanbari even at times other than the two famous religious fairs take place. The oldest yak cheese production factory of a Dairy Development Corporation is here. Even the trekkers take a test of the famous yak cheese produced in Chandanbari. The yak herds also make the environment exciting. Many travelers who cannot bear the fatigue anymore take overnight stop here and head to Gosaikunda the next morning. The place is also known as Singh Monastery, named after the ancient monument itself. The uphill trek continues from Chandanbari for another 2 hours up to Cholangpati. This place, renowned for yak farming and traders, is another stop on the way. Though few tourists are also seen here, yak farmers often gather in monsoon season here. The typical Himalayan lifestyle, cylindrical pine trees and the cold weather greet the travelers. Many temporary structures are set up by local administration, Nepal Army, police among others, along the way during the annual Gosaikunda fair to provide free health care and first aid services to travelers. After another 2 hours walk, we reach the Lodi Bina area. Those who can walk faster take overnight stop at this place that has plenty of hotels. This is the perfect place to enjoy nature and its beauty. The view of mountain peaks including Ganesh, Manasalu, Langtang and some across the border in China and Dhunche Bazaar is a treat to the eyes. The idol of Lord Buddha greets trekkers at this place. The trail also gets a bit less difficult with almost no more uphill walk. Legend has it that the place got its name Loribina, meaning free of walking sticks, as travelers discard their walking stick at the end of the uphill climb here. The same walking stick is again brought back while returning from the pilgrimage. Another 2 hours facile walk takes us to Ganesh Gaunda. From where the revered Vairav and Saraswati Kunda or lakes become visible. The very sight of the holy water of the ponds rejuvenates every traveler. One of the specialities of Ganesh Kunda is the idol of Lord Ganesh and the tailless mice or the moles, known as the ride of Lord Ganesh, are seen roaming freely. Gosai Kunda is just 15 minutes walk from this place. The pond, measuring 4 square kilometers in width and 19.2 meters in depth, is the common holy site for both Hindus and Buddhists. Devotees offer prayers at the temple after taking a holy dip in the freezing water of the pond. Twice a year during Janai Purnima and Dasarma fairs, Hindu and Buddhist devotees throng the holy site. The pond is the origin of the mighty Trisuli river. A little further is the Trishul Dhara, or a fountain with its own anecdote. Legend has it that Lord Shiva, after drinking the Kalkut poison, held it in his neck. After holding the poison in his neck, Lord Shiva started roaming around in immense pain and thirst. The fountain was formed here when Lord Shiva struck his trident to quench his thirst. The fountain is the source of water for the ponds here. Lord Shiva is believed to have laid flat on the ground here after drinking the water. As per the legend, this happened on the day of Janai Purnima. Thus comes the popular belief that Lord Shiva still visits this place on the day of Janai Purnima along with other deities. The river Trisuli also got its name as it originated from the place where the Lord had struck with his Trisul, or the trident. Devotees throng this place during Janai Purnima. The atmosphere is lightened by various peasantries, including cultural shows during the fair. few hotels can be found here for those who want to make an overnight stop. However, many try to avoid staying here due to fears of altitude sickness. Nevertheless, medical camps are adequately set up for emergencies during the fair. Special paid horse ride service is also available for those who can't walk. There are 3 different routes to reach Gosaikunda. One is the Kathmandu Chisapani Ghopte Suryakunda route. Another route is via Rasua's Langtang Thulu Safru Gosaikunda. And of course, the route via Dhonche of Rasua, which we traveled, is probably the shortest and the easiest of them all. This route is 3 to 4 days walk from Dhonche, depending on the individual's speed. Travelers can choose 2 different routes to and fro Gosaikunda to spice up their adventure. The revered Gosaikunda at 4,380 meters above the sea level in Gosaikunda rural municipality of Rasua district and inside Langtang National Park is a must-go destination for any avid traveler. Ask anyone who has been there. It is indeed a lifetime experience.
Nepal is a country well known for the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, and the birthplace of Lord Buddha, the pioneer of peace. This is a country equally graced by the beauty of natural scenery and cultural riches. Unity in diversity, immense tolerance, and confluence of coexistence, Nepal is a country of its own uniqueness. Lord Buddha, the pioneer of non-violence, tolerance, and peace, was born on the full moon day in Lumbini in 623 BC. Peace, compassion, mercy, tolerance, and salvation are the perennial paths of Buddhism that lead or have been leading mankind to complete freedom and welfare of all humankind. Lord Buddha taught the world to engage more on spiritual contemplation following those paths. Buddhism has indeed become a new way to most sought peace and prosperity. Thus, Lumbini has been growing into a sacred destination not only for Buddhists but also for peace lovers and spiritual practitioners. The life story and its supporting remnants related to the childhood life of Prince Siddhartha Gautam can still be seen and heard in Kapilvastu. The sacred historical bits and pieces attached to King Suddhodana, the father of Lord Buddha, which are of archaeological significance, will speak of Kapilvastu as an open museum. The remnant of eastern gate of the compound of King Suddhodana's palace was the main gate to the premises. You can witness here the entrance gates in all four directions, and indeed countless remains lying on your left and right, and back and front, bearing historical significance. In ancient time, the area was even known as Kapilvastu as today it is, but later the place was also called Tilalakot. According to Buddhist books and literature, Devdaha in Rupanderi district was homeland of Lord Buddha's maternal uncle and father-in-law as well. The bricks used to build homes are still lying plenty scattered there, and to your wonder, some bricks even weigh 12 kilograms. There is another place called Kudan, which is within the district headquarters of Taulihawa. And legend has that here, King Suddhodana encountered his son Siddhartha for the first time after the latter was enlightened to Buddha. This place was also called Nigrodhara, which is now surrounded by the remnants of stupas. Similarly, this was the very place where Buddha's stepmother, Gautami Prajapati, handed monk's dress over to Lord Buddha. Likewise, Ram Gram in Nawalparasi district is the place where a stupa of Lord Buddha's cool bone was built after his parinirvana demise. Excavation is still undergoing in this place. Kapilvastu, Lumbini, Ram Gram and Devdaha are therefore indelible places highly attached to the life of Lord Buddha. Kapilvastu was the kingdom of Sakya, Lord Buddha's clan, whereas Ramgram and Devdaha were of Koliyas. And the two states were bordered by Rohini River, some 27 kilometers east. To Kapilvastu was Lumbini, which was at that time densely cocooned by sal and ashok trees, and was popularly known as Sacred Garden. Buddhist tales say once when Buddha's mother Mayadevi was journeying to her parental home, Mayadevi, she experienced delivery symptoms. Gripping a branch of a tree, she gave birth to Prince Siddhartha. According to some old Buddhist literature, the birth of Prince Siddhartha bore several symptoms and well indicated that the newborn baby was not a common birth, but a birth of a dignified, spiritual, and an incarnate. Legend has that the newborn baby walked 7 steps far immediately after it was off mother's womb. Moreover, the new baby uttered the following revelations: I would be the first among the mortals to go beyond passing through this worldly web. This is my last birth. Rebirth never happens with me again. Prince Siddhartha lived an affluent life of 29 years at Kapilvastu Palace. But when he tried to penetrate and see close to the eternal truth of life, then he started contemplating on life. Why does a man become old? Why does he suffer from different diseases? Why does he die? These were the pertinent questions that haunted him most. Driven by divine spirit to find ultimate truth, he decided to renounce royal life. One night, he left his family, friends, and palace to seek salvation and eternal truth. Roaming several days, he reached Bodh Gaya of India, and there under a peepal tree he had gone for meditation and became Buddha. He gave his first religious preaching in Sarnath in Varanasi, India. He talked about eternal truth, human duty, peace, and the path of salvation there, and earned a number of followers. Buddha underwent parinirvana, death, at the age of 80 in Kushinagar. Addressing his followers just before his parinirvana, Lord Buddha said, "My devotees will visit and throng around the places where I took birth, where I was enlightened, where I first delivered my preaching, and where I got parinirvana." So, Lumbini, saturated by Lord Buddha's peace-loaded messages for over ages, has been the most sacred religious sites for many, if not only for Buddhists. Today, the Buddhists and the followers of Buddhism and peace lovers of the world over visit Lumbini to pay homage to Lord Buddha and feel and get familiar to his brainchild, peace. King Ashoka, a staunch supporter of Buddha, visited Lumbini in 249 BC and built a pillar quite near to Buddha's nativity site. The Ashoka pillar bears an inscription that says, Buddha was born here. Lumbini is not only an attractive tourism hub today, but it's also a live state of historical and archaeological significance. To preserve Lumbini, the government of Nepal and Japan Buddhist Association have jointly launched the excavation since 1992. Lumbini had undergone negligence of both government and non-government entities for centuries. Planned and coordinated effort began only in 1953. The United Nations appointed famous Japanese professor and engineer Kenjo Tange to make a master plan for the development of Lumbini. The government of Nepal accepted the proposed master plan in 1978. To develop Lumbini according to the master plan, the government of Nepal established Lumbini Development Fund in 1985. According to the master plan, Lumbini Development Region has been divided into 3 zones. In the meantime, several phases of development have also been adopted. In first zone comes Sacred Garden. Second, Zone of Stupas. And in third comes New Lumbini Village. It is expected that the Sacred Garden will create a kind of aura, ensuring peaceful ambience, natural serenity, and religious sacredness to its visitors, in which they can feel deep Lord Buddha's message of peace and compassion. The very core of Lumbini Garden is the nativity site of Buddha. The plain bas relief of Maya Devi, which is supposed to be about 17 to 1800 years old and depicts the nativity scene, has been put in the newly renovated temple. Near the temple lies Sakya Kund, sacred pond, where Maya Devi was supposed to have taken bath before giving birth to Buddha. Zone of Stupas is another important feature of Lumbini Master Plan, within which territory countries, international associations, and devotees of world over can build stupas of their own in dedication to Lord Buddha. Moreover, the zone of stupas has been divided into 2. In the western part, the followers of Mahayana sect are building their stupas, whereas eastern part is dominated by Theravada sect. This zone of stupas has 41 geographic subdivisions in which various countries, organizations, and devotees have been building chortens, monasteries and stupas respectively. With a view to carry study and research on Buddhism and its inherent philosophy, a cultural studies center has been set up in Lumbini. The study center has museum, library and archives in which you can find Buddhism-related books, literature, arts and other valuable materials. Similarly, Lumbini International Research Center has been set up which provides materials and other needed support to researchers of other religion, philosophy, and culture. There is also a library for those who want to study about peace and religion. Another major attraction of Lumbini is its eternal flame, which is placed in Shanti Kunj Peace Arbor. The flame was ignited on the occasion of the International Peace Year in 1985. The flame can be considered as bold symbol to keep Lord Buddha's peace messages alive. Lumbini village is the exterior part of Lumbini Master Plan, where various facilities of lodging and fooding for the visitors are catered in depending on their capacities. There are a number of cheap and affordable rest houses to moderate ones and luxury hotels laced by all modern amenities. A peace stupa has been built in the northern side of Lumbini. It is the tallest stupa in the area. The story of the greatness of Lord Buddha's birthplace, Lumbini, is not an imagined story of a next world. Lumbini, in fact, is the most sacred place which can emanate peace, friendship, kindness, compassion, and feeling of coexistence to all people of all ages. This is a destination to inward peace, a holy place for enlightenment. Indeed, the sacredness of Lumbini existed in the past too. It is today too, and it will be tomorrow too.
Among Nepal's many glacial lakes, some are at serious risk of bursting. Sudden bursts of these lakes due to the impact of climate change could result in massive loss of lives and property. This issue has already been discussed widely in the international community. Nepal itself has been drawing attention to the condition of these lakes and the harm they could cause. Even then, in the recent years, several glacial lakes of Nepal have already burst, resulting in heavy loss of life and property. Experts warn that this trend could continue to grow and have urged everyone to take preventive action. Just a week ago, in Koike rural municipality of Dolba district of the far western Nepal, flood mixed with derbs buried about 53 houses. Likewise, in mid-April 2025, heavy rainfall and flooding in Srinagar Bazar of Odanchuli municipality in Humla in the northwestern Nepal has caused massive destruction. Continuous rain has also damaged areas in Srinagar and nearby villages in Mugu's Khatiar rural municipality. Last year, it was confirmed that the flood in Thame River of Solukhumbu in the Khumbu region of the foothills of Mount Everest was caused by glacial lake outburst. Similarly, the unexpected flood in Rasua along Nepal-China border in the north on July 8, 2025, according to experts, was the result of glacial lake outburst. Recently, ICIMOD used satellite images and other research to identify 47 glacial lakes that could burst at any time, causing harm to human settlement in Nepal. The study shows that many of these high-risk lakes are located within Koshi River Basin. ICIMO's General Director Dr. Pema Gyamso says that the climate change and rising temperature are the main reasons behind the bursting of these lakes. Gyamso adds that to stop such disasters, there must be strong investment in the early warning systems and emergency preparation.
Collaboration चाहियो, cooperation transboundary अब हाम्रो 8 देश छ इन्डो कोशी हिमालयमा त्यसमा हामीले इन्फर्मेसन एक्सचेन्ज गर्ने साइन्टिफिक कोअपरेसन अब त्यसको लागि पनि इन्भेस्टमेन्ट चाहियो फन्डिङ चाहियो त्यसको पनि प्रब्लम छ अनि हामीले अहिले इसिमो चाहिँ यो पोलिटिकली न्यूट्रल भएर हामीले चाहिँ के गर्दैछौँ भने साइन्टिस्टहरु र हाम्रो पोलिसी मेकर्सहरु लिएर डिस्कस चाहिँ हुँदैछ तर हामीले अलिक यो भन्दा बेसिक कोअपरेसन चाहिँ गर्छ खास चाहिँ कोअर्डिनेसन कोअपरेसन हो हामीले यो रिसोर्सेस र यो नपुगेर पनि कोअपरेसन छ भने अहिले भन्दा बेसी हामीले त्यो प्रिभेन्सन गर्न सक्छौँ डिसास्टरलाई.
Out of the 47 risky glacial lakes, 25 are located in China, 21 are inside Nepal, and 1 lies on the Indian side. Even if the lakes in China and India burst, the damage would still reach Nepal's settlement downstream.
Preparations in full swing for Nepal's House of Representatives election on March 5. Political parties giving visible momentum ahead of the single-phase polls. Government strengthens anti-corruption mandate. Low transparency score prompts renewed public pressure. Government cracks down on idle infrastructure projects as over 250 developments hit by contractor negligence. Minister warns of strict action. Local initiatives bring indigenous crops back from the brink in Dhading. Revival efforts key to enhancing food security. Australia enforces world-first ban under 16s blocked from major social media platforms. Millions of teens lose access under new ban. And Sudur Pashchim Royals enter the final of NPL Season 2, beat Biratnagar Kings by 77 runs in the first qualifier. I'm Sarah Sapsadamarai and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. And now the news in detail. Nepal's Election Commission has confirmed that preparations for the House of Representatives election scheduled for March 5 are progressing smoothly. Acting Chief Election Commissioner Ram Prasad Bhandari said the polls will be held in a single phase and will ensure a free, fair and secure environment. Political parties have already become highly active, creating strong momentum ahead of the vote. The Commission is holding regular consultations with the government and all 4 national security agencies, helping establish a stable security climate. Nepal now has 8.06 million registered voters, including around 800,000, and the final verified voter list will be released in the first week of January. The world is marking International Anti-Corruption Day IACD 2025 under the theme United with Youths Against Corruption, Shaping Tomorrow's Integrity. The campaign highlights the pivotal role of young people in promoting transparency, accountability and ethical governance. In Nepal, Prime Minister Sushila Karki reiterated that the government formed with support from the Gen Z movement advocating good governance remains committed to strengthening anti-corruption efforts despite upcoming elections. Speaking at a program on the 22nd International Anti-Corruption Day, Prime Minister Karki said some groups were uneasy with the government's anti-corruption drive and had even issued threats. Nepal's government has launched a major crackdown on construction contractors who have left infrastructure projects idle for years, burdening the economy. Authorities are fast-tracking the termination of contracts for dozens of long-delayed or sick projects. Minister for Physical Infrastructure and Transport Kulman Ghising has warned that contractors who win bids but fail to start work will no longer be tolerated. More than 250 projects nationwide have become dysfunctional due to contractor negligence, affecting job creation and Nepal's economic growth. Local governments across Nepal's mid-hill regions have begun implementing a series of new initiatives designed to protect and revive indigenous crops. These programs encourage farmers to reintroduce and cultivate traditional varieties such as millet, buckwheat, barley and foxtail millet that were once at risk of disappearing from local fields. Millions of children and teenagers under the age of 16 in Australia have lost access to major social media platforms after a world-first ban officially took effect. Applications including Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, X and others are now required to block underage users. Parents and children will not be punished, but companies that fail to comply could face fines of up to 49.5 million Australian dollar. The government says the measure is designed to protect young people from harmful content online. Critics, meanwhile, argue the ban may isolate vulnerable teens and push them toward unregulated corners of the internet. Sudur Paschim Royals have romped into the final of Nepal Premier League Season 2 with 77 runs victory against Viratnagar Kings. In the first qualifier at the TU Cricket Stadium today, the Royals defended the target of 155 by bowling out Kings for 78 runs in just 14.1 overs. Viratnagar, that chose to bowl first, conceded 155 runs for the loss of 7 wickets to Royals in the first innings at the turning track of Tribhuvan University. The Kings will still have a chance to qualify for the final as they face the winner of eliminator between Lumbini Lions and Kathmandu Gorkhas that has been scheduled for tomorrow. Coming up after the break in our cover story of the day, Nepal's struggle with corruption taking center stage as with Transparency International's latest score sparking youth-led calls for stronger action. Stay with us here on NTV World. You're watching NTV World. Welcome back to News Hour. Nepal marks International Anti-Corruption Day 2025 with Transparency International scoring the country 34 out of 100, sparking renewed public scrutiny. Under this year's theme, United with Youth Against Corruption, Shaping Tomorrow's Integrity, young people are demanding stronger action from the interim government to tackle entrenched corruption. Bijeta Bhandari reports.
Nepal has always been ranked as one of the most corrupt countries by global anti-corruption watchdog Transparency International for more than 2 decades. In the latest report of Transparency International released every year in February, Nepal scored 34 out of 100 in the Corruption Perceptions Index. The index ranks 180 countries on a scale from 0 to 100, where 0 means highly corrupt and 100 means very clean, based on expert and business sector assessments of the public sector corruption. Nepal sits at 34, just above the 33-point threshold often associated with countries drifting into non-democratic practices. It also ranks 107th out of 180 countries, far below the global average score of 43. When we think of corruption, we often imagine under-the-table payments, bribes, and delayed projects. The interim government led by the former Chief Justice Sushila Karki sits on the throne of the anti-corruption movement that derailed the elected government and dissolved the federal parliament. Given the obvious mandate of handing over the governance by holding fresh elections on March 5, 2026, the Karki-led government needs to come up with visible measures to curb rampant corruption in the country.
यो सरकार चुनावी सरकार मात्र होइन, सुशासनको माग राखी भएको जेनजी आन्दोलनको जगमा बनेको सरकार हो। सरकारले नियमित कार्य सँगसँगै सुशासनका निमित्त तीव्र गतिमा काम गरिरहेको छ। जेनजीका माग र अपेक्षा बमोजिमका आशातीत उपलब्धि हासिल हुन समय लाग्ला, तर भ्रष्टाचार विरुद्ध जुनसुकै हदसम्मको कठोर कदम चाल्न पनि सरकार पछि हट्ने छैन।
As the recent Gen Z protests in Nepal showed, many young Nepalis are no longer willing to accept the system that is deeply rooted in corruption.
हाम्रा संस्थाहरू कमजोर भए, त्यसलाई नियन्त्रण गर्ने संस्थाहरू। दोस्रो कुरा हामीले भिजनरी लिडर पाएनौँ, नन करप्ट लिडर हैन, जसलाई चाहिँ कसैले औँठी ठडाउन सकोस्। हामीहरूका कानुन राम्रो हुँदा हुँदै पनि कार्यान्वयन गर्ने निकायहरू कमजोर रहे। तेस्रो कुरो त मानिसमा चेतनाको स्तर कम भयो।
According to the 2021 census, people aged 16 to 40 made up 42.56% of Nepal's population, a massive youth demographic directly affected by weak institutions, poor governance, failing infrastructure, and low climate resilience. For them, corruption is not just about financial loss, but also lost opportunities, unsafe development, and uncertain future. This Anti-Corruption Day, the message from Nepal's youth is unmistakable. Integrity is not optional. Bijeta Bhandari with camera person Durba Thapa reporting for NTV World.
Nepal's Corruption Perception Index CPI score climbed from a low of 27 in 2012 to a peak of 35 in 2023. Here on NTV World News Hour, we now explore the trajectory of the country's CPI scores and ranks between the year 2012 to 24.
In 2012, Nepal began the decade with a CPI score of just 27, ranking 139th globally. The CPI uses a scale from 0 to 100, where 0 indicates very high corruption and 100 represents a very clean public sector. Any score below 50 is generally seen as a sign of serious corruption issues. Scores remained low through 2015, fluctuating between 27 and 29, reflecting persistent concerns over governance, weak accountability, and systemic corruption. From 2016 onward, Nepal showed modest improvement. Scores gradually rose to 31 in 2017 and 2018, and then to 34 in 2019, pushing Nepal up to 113th position. These gains suggested incremental reforms and increased public scrutiny. During the COVID-19 years, Nepal's performance plateaued. CPI scores remained in a narrow band, 33 in 2020 and 2021 and 34 in 2022. The country's ranking hovered between 117th and 110th, indicating slow progress despite rising public demand for transparency. The year 2023 marked Nepal's highest score of the decade, 35 out of 100 with a ranking of 108th. However, in 2023, 2024, the score slipped slightly to 34, though ranking improved to 107th out of 180 countries. Overall, Nepal has moved from one of the lowest ranked countries a decade ago to a mid-tier position today. But according to Transparency International, Nepal remains in the category of nations facing widespread and entrenched corruption.
Meanwhile, we asked the people what should be done to prevent corruption. Let's listen to their views in today's Public Pulse.
मेरो विचारमा भ्रष्टाचार न्यूनीकरण गर्नलाई चाहिँ पहिलो कुरा भनेको चाहिँ गभर्नमेन्टको स्ट्रिक्ट रुल्स एन्ड रेगुलेसन हुनु पर्यो अनि त्यसपछि एउटा सिटिजन्सलाई अवेरनेस पनि हुनु पर्यो अनि अर्को कुरा भनेको चाहिँ अफिसर्सहरुलाई राम्रो स्यालेरी एन्ड इन्सेन्टिभ्स पनि हुनु पर्यो जस्तो लाग्छ
एउटा भ्रष्टाचार न्यूनीकरणको लागि जनताहरु एकरूपता हुनुपर्छ र जरैदेखि भ्रष्टाचारलाई निर्मूल गर्ने सबै सचेत नागरिक भइयो भने भ्रष्टाचारलाई निर्मूल गर्न सकिन्छ
घुस लिनु भएन यताउता गर्नु भएन हैन राम्रो कानुन राम्रो बनाउनु पर्यो हैन युवकहरु उठेर उनीहरुलाई सजाय दिन पर्यो
भ्रष्टाचार गर्नेहरुलाई चाहिँ समातेर कारबाही गर्नु पर्यो कारबाही गरिसकेपछि चाहिँ अनि अब भ्रष्टाचार गर्नेहरु अलि डराउँछन् नि त पहिला भ्रष्टाचार गर्नेहरु खुलेआम हिँडिरहन् अब तिनीहरुलाई समाउने कारबाही गर्ने केही छैन अनि त्यही भएर नि झन् भ्रष्टाचार बढ्छ के त्यही भएर भ्रष्टाचारीहरु कहाँ छन् त्यसको चाहिँ न्यूनीकरणको लागि सबैलाई एकदम चारैतिरबाट समाउने अनि कारबाही गर्ने के
भन्दा पहिला त सबै हामी जस्तो अझ युवा भयो सबैले सोच्नुपर्ने कुरा आफै सचेत हुनुपर्ने कुरा हो सबभन्दा पहिला त्यसपछि अब कहीँ भ्रष्टाचार भएको आफूलाई थाहा छ कहीँ उसमा अफिसरमा कतै के भने पनि नडाटिकिन कसैलाई थाहा छ भने पनि भन्ने अथवा पक्डिने कसरी हुन्छ आफूले चाहिँ जनतालाई सचेत गराउने यो गर्न हुँदैन भनेर सचेत गराउने काम चाहिँ आफैबाट सुरु गर्नुपर्छ सबभन्दा पहिला आफूले दिन पनि भएन लिनेलाई पनि सचेत गराउनु पर्यो लिने दिने दुईटैलाई कारबाही हुनुपर्छ यस्तो भएको ठाउँ छ भने नि कसैले देखाइदिन पर्यो
भ्रष्टाचारीलाई चाहिँ जेल गर्न पर्यो जेलमा हाल्न पर्यो राम्रो चाहिँ सुशासन हुनु पर्यो यस्तो बेला चाहिँ अब भ्रष्टाचारीलाई चाहिँ अझै चाहिँ तिनलाई माथि प्रोत्साहन दिने के गर्ने तिनी गर्न भएन
Now, in Nepal, corruption continues to hinder governance, economic growth and public trust. As the nation seeks stronger transparency and accountability, we are joined today by the President of Transparency International Nepal, Mr. Madan Krishna Sharma, to discuss the current challenges and the steps required to build a cleaner, more transparent system. Mr. Sharma, welcome to NTV World News Hour. It's good to have you with us here. Well, if you can hear me, Nepal scored 34 out of 100 in the latest Corruption Perception Index and ranked 107th out of 180 countries. Where does this place Nepal in the global corruption scenario today, and what does this score truly reflect about everyday corruption in public institutions?
This score of 34 is on the very low side, and it reflects a very high level of corruption. The countries scoring below 50 marks are considered as corrupt countries, but 34 is too below than high from 50. And also, if you look at the global average, it is around 43. So we are below the global average as well in terms of scoring on the Corruption Perception Index. So Nepal is placed at a very low level. That means a very highly corrupted country in that category.
Well, Communications Minister Jagadish Kharan recently said that 50 corruption cases are being investigated and 25 major cases are already under action. Do these numbers reflect genuine progress, or are they more political statements than real accountability?
I think compared to what used to be in the past, before this interim government is in place, there were not such a progress. So whatever progress is being done is actually commendable, but we need to see. They have just started, but we need to see, and we feel that the entities like CIA are more sort of independent now to act, and there is no political pressure on them. It looks like, but we don't know internally. There could be. There are threats as well. We have been hearing on the media, but in general, we feel that the corruption cases that have been registered are being investigated, and the court case are being filed. But the concern here is the quality of this investigation and the filing. And our court's decision also we need to see going forward.
The general public feel often that these investigations rarely lead to tangible outcomes. Why do corruption cases in Nepal take so long from investigation to prosecution? What do you think are the real bottlenecks?
The real bottlenecks, if we go and finding the root cause, we reach to a point where we bang our head on the politics and the political parties here, because what we have seen is that the political parties, though are elected by the people, they are sort of uniting the major parties, and there is no there is no sort of opposition in the house. There is no larger opposition. Always the opposition party comes to the power with another party whom they were opposing yesterday. This type of scenario has actually put a question mark on the overall democratic system, because the three parties that they were more in the power in a rotating manner, they have been ruling the country. So because of the lack of this opposition and these three parties, they were more engaged jointly, though they were sometimes one of them would be outside the government, but still they would be somehow linked to the major decisions and all that. And if we look at the appointments, whether it is a judicial appointment or it is appointment in any constitutional body or any government regulatory bodies or major government positions or even the security positions, there is always a sort of a sharing of the seats and all those things. So all these factors have caused a lot of deficiency and impacted the functioning and effectiveness of those entities. So because of that, there are always delays, and also in the court and judicial system. Actually, the corruption also places a lot of sort of a pressure on the judicial system, because the judges are appointed from the political cadres. So this system, because of these practices, our overall system, even at the executive government and in the parliament also, when it was there, the parliamentary committees were not very effective because they were more sort of subservient to the government actually. And our judicial system also, since the appointment of the judges are from the parties, and as a part of the party cadres, most of them, they are perceived as not being independent and influenced by the party politics. So because of all these things, the delays in the investigation as well as delays in finalizing the cases at the courts are happening, which is very much a bad thing for controlling corruption in the country.
Okay. Lastly, Mr. Sharma, we see big scandals like land grabs, airport procurement, tax anomalies getting exposed and then stall. Why do high-profile cases slow down the moment powerful actors are implicated?
This is the same reason that I just explained, because it is purely a political influence. It looks like, because these high-profile cases are always linked with the high-level politicians and the officials who are to investigate, who are to implicate, and who are to sort of decide on the cases are all appointed by these politicians. And because of this, there is always political influences in all these offices and entities. So because of this, the high profile cases have still not come out, or even if some of them have come out, they are pending at the courts, and the final verdicts have not yet come. So this is a situation where it needs this interim government needs to look at very seriously.
Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for your time and your insights.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting.
Well, moving on, Nepal's recent move to terminate contracts of long-delayed infrastructure projects is being viewed as an important action in the broader battle against corruption. The government's decision targets contractors who have taken on projects but failed to begin work, leaving developments abandoned and draining public resources, according to Minister for Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Kulman Khising.
ठेक्का व्यवस्थापनमा ठेकदारको पक्षको कन्ट्र्याक्ट एक्जिक्युसन पनि त्यतिकै विक छ। हाम्रो व्यवस्थापनपट्टिको इम्प्लोयरपट्टिको ठेक्काको व्यवस्थापन र कन्ट्र्याक्ट म्यानेजमेन्टमा त्यतिकै समस्या देखिन्छ। तत्काल काम गराउनु पर्यो भन्दाखेरि कन्ट्र्याक्टर खोज्नै गाह्रो, कता हो कता 15 वर्षसम्म कन्ट्र्याक्टरै छैन।
We'll go for a short break here. More news coming up on the other side. Nepal's Election Commission has said preparations are in full swing to hold the country's upcoming House of Representatives election in a single phase on March 5. Acting Chief Election Commissioner Ram Prasad Bhandari has said that the Commission is working meticulously to ensure the polls take place in a free, fair and secure environment. The Chief Commissioner noted that political parties across Nepal have already become active, creating visible momentum ahead of the polls. Bhandari said the Commission is holding a series of consultations with the government, major political parties and all 4 national security agencies. According to him, these coordinated efforts have helped establish a positive and stable security climate for election day. Nepal currently has 8,068,230 registered voters, with around 800,000 new voters added ahead of this election. The Commission has confirmed that the final verified voter list will be released in the first week of January. The government has decided to form an inquiry committee led by Deepak Subedi to investigate the implementation of Supreme Court orders related to transportation sector. Government spokesperson and Minister for Communication and Information Technology, Jagadish Kharel, made public the decisions of cabinet meeting held on Monday.
यातायात क्षेत्र सम्बन्धी सर्वोच्च अदालतका आदेशहरू कार्यान्वयन सम्बन्धमा श्री दीपक सुवेदीको अध्यक्षतामा श्री शरद अधिकारी र श्री योगेन्द्रनाथ कर्मचारी सदस्य रहेको जाँचबुझ आयोग गठन गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। सम्बत 2082 साल भदौ 23 र 24 गतेको जेन्जी प्रदर्शन तथा आन्दोलनमा घाइते तथा अपाङ्ग भएका व्यक्तिलाई राहत सहायता उपलब्ध गराउने सम्बन्धी कार्यविधि 2082 स्वीकृत गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ।
Additional Secretary at India's Ministry of External Affairs, Monu Mahawar, paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Sushila Karki today. According to the Prime Minister's Secretariat, the meeting held at the Prime Minister's office in Singhadarwar focused on key areas of bilateral cooperation, including trade, connectivity, energy partnership and ongoing development projects. Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening Nepal-India relations and exploring new avenues of collaboration. Prime Minister Karke expressed appreciation for India's continued support, while Mahawar conveyed India's interest in deepening cooperation under existing bilateral mechanisms. Now, local governments in Nepal's mid-hills have rolled out new programs aimed at safeguarding indigenous crops, encouraging farmers to bring back traditional varieties such as millet, buckwheat, barley and foxtail millet that once faced extinction. Rochina Rai, with support from Dhading correspondent Shiva Silwal, brings this report.
Predominantly still an agricultural country, Nepal ranks 72nd among 123 countries in the 2025 Global Nutrition Index, issued as per the World Health Organization (WHO). Nepal remains largely off track in meeting the targets set by WHO's Global Nutrition Target 2025 on nutrition and food security. As concerns over nutrition security grow, traditional Nepali crops are gaining renewed importance. Local governments have made headway in announcing plans to run campaigns to preserve and promote indigenous species of food crops. With the demand steadily rising, farmers in Nepal's mid-hill and high-hilly regions are cultivating seasonal indigenous crops more than earlier years. Several programs have been introduced to encourage pesticide-free, eco-friendly production techniques to ensure the natural qualities of indigenous crops.
होमस्टे राखिसकेपछि यसरी हामीले नयाँ नयाँ अर्गानिक चीज यहाँ भएको के रे पहिलादेखि भइरहेको यो फापर अनि त्यसपछि कोदो मकै धान त पहिल्यैदेखि हो यिनीहरू पनि लाउन थालेछ.
Training sessions are being conducted on soil and water conservation, organic pest and disease control, and long-term seed preservation for sustainability of traditional crops. Experts believe this will improve Nepal's standing in the World Nutrition Index while also supporting rural agro-tourism. With the rise in people's acceptance of locally produced delicacy, homestay operators in rural areas are increasingly serving traditional cooking prepared from millet, maize, barley, wheat, promoting both Nepal's food legacy and local agriculture. Nepal's dependence on imported food grains still a bitter reality, but the renewed focus on promoting indigenous crops can slowly but surely help.
The Siddhartha Art Gallery at Babar Mahal Revisited unveiled Mithila Cosmos 7 Journey of a Pilgrim, a new solo exhibition by renowned artist S.C. Suman. The exhibition was inaugurated by distinguished art historian Julia Lloyd-Williams, who commended Suman's continued contribution to preserving and innovating within Nepal's traditional art forms. Artworks in the collection are priced up to 350,000 Nepali rupees, reflecting both the intricacy of the craft and the rising appreciation for Mithila art in Nepal and abroad. The opening drew art enthusiasts, cultural scholars and members of the public who were invited to experience this new chapter in the Mithila Cosmos series. The exhibition will remain on display until 10th January 2026. International updates coming up next. For now, a quick recap of the headlines. Preparations in full swing for Nepal's House of Representatives election on March 5. Political parties giving visible momentum ahead of the single-phase polls. Government strengthens anti-corruption mandate. Low transparency score prompts renewed public pressure. Government cracks down on idle infrastructure projects as over 250 developments hit by contractor negligence. Minister warns of strict action. Local initiatives bring indigenous crops back from the brink in Dhading. Revival efforts key to enhancing food security. Australia enforces world first ban under 16s blocked from major social media platforms. Millions of teens lose access under the new ban. And Sudur Pashchim Royals enter the final of Nepal Premier League Season 2, beat Biratnagar Kings by 77 runs in the first qualifier. Firefighters and fire engines rushed to the scene after a fire broke out in an apartment building on New York City's Upper West Side in Manhattan. Emergency crews worked quickly to control the blaze as thick smoke billowed from the building. Residents were evacuated while firefighters continued to battle the flames and assess the extent of the damage. Authorities have not yet confirmed the cause of the fire and investigations are underway. No immediate reports of casualties have been released. Renewed fighting between Thailand and Cambodia over a disputed border has spread as more deaths are reported and thousands are displaced. Cambodia says 2 more civilians have been killed in overnight shelling by Thai forces, bringing the total deaths on its side to 7. Thailand has reported that at least 3 soldiers have been killed. Both sides have blamed each other for the clashes, which have derailed a fragile ceasefire brokered by US President Donald Trump earlier in July. Trump had at the time claimed a historic achievement in ending the border conflict, with Cambodia nominating Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize for his role. Thailand and Cambodia have been contesting territorial sovereignty along their 800-kilometer land border for more than a century. We're going for a short break once again. Business news coming up next.
The government of Nepal has fixed the minimum purchase price of sugarcane at 620 rupees or about $4.50 per quintal for the 2025-26 fiscal year. The decision, approved during a cabinet meeting on Monday, marks an increase of 35 rupees per quintal from last year. The government will also continue offering a 70 rupee per quintal subsidy to sugarcane growing farmers. While farmers welcomed the price hike, they noted that they had demanded 750 rupees per quintal, citing rising production cost and inflation. They highlighted rise in the prices of fertilizers, seeds, labor, irrigation, and transportation, stressing that these cost pressures have made sugarcane farming more challenging. Farmers also urged the government to announce the sugarcane price by mid-November each year. With the new rate now set, sugar mills across major sugar-producing districts in eastern and western Nepal, including Morang, Sunsari, Sarlahi, Siraha, Bara, Rupandehi, Nawalparasi, and Kapilvastu, are preparing to begin crossing operations for the season. US President Donald Trump says he has reached an agreement with Chinese President Xi Jinping to allow US chip giant NVIDIA to export advanced artificial intelligence chips to China. The announcement marks a significant shift in US export policy for advanced AI chips, which Joe Biden's administration had heavily restricted over national security concerns about Chinese military applications. Democrats in Congress quickly dismissed the shift as a huge mistake that will help the Chinese military and economy. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump said he had informed Xi that Washington would permit NVIDIA to ship its H200 products to approved customers in China and other countries on conditions that allow for continued strong national security. India is set to roll out its most sweeping labor law reforms in decades, a move that has sharply divided opinion between trade unions and industry leaders. The new framework consolidates 29 existing labor laws into 4 comprehensive labor codes aimed at modernizing regulations, simplifying compliance, and improving the ease of doing business. Government officials say the overhaul is designed to boost economic activity, encourage investment, and increase formal employment. However, trade unions across the country have voiced strong concerns. They argue that the revised rules dilute worker protections, limit the right to strike, and give employers greater flexibility in hiring and firing. The manufacturing sector, meanwhile, has welcomed the changes. Industry groups say the streamlined rules will reduce bureaucratic hurdles, provide clear compliance guidelines, and make India a more attractive destination for global investors. Australia is set to enforce from 10th of December a new law banning access to major social media platforms for anyone under 16. With this, many of the affected big tech companies are scrambling to comply. Some, like Meta, have already begun the process of deactivating under 16 accounts in Australia. Under the legislation, platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, Snapchat, Reddit, and several others must block new under 16 signups and remove existing underage accounts or face fines of up to 49.5 million Australian dollars. But these companies warn the mandate is hard to enforce in practice and may produce unintended consequences, such as driving youths to more dangerous, unregulated corners of the internet.
And time now for sports update. The Cricket Association of Nepal (CAN) has officially announced the 15-member squad set to compete in the ACC Under-19 Asia Cup, scheduled to be held in United Arab Emirates from December 12. The team, led by Captain Ashok Dhami, was unveiled today and has already departed for the country. The squad includes Neeraj Kumar Yadav, Dilshad Ali, Abhishek Tiwari, Sibrin Shrestha, Sahil Patel, Dayanand Mandal, Nishal Chetri, Ashish Lohar, Nitesh Patel, Chandan Ramaroshan Bika, Bipin Sharma, Vans Chetri, and Yuvaraj Khatri. Nepal will kick off its campaign against Sri Lanka on December 13, followed by matches against Bangladesh on December 15 and Afghanistan on the 17th, all to be played at the Sevens Stadium. The tournament features 8 teams, with Nepal placed in Group B alongside Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Afghanistan. The top 2 teams from each group will progress to the semi-finals on December 19, while the final has been scheduled for December 21st. The International Olympic Committee (IOC), led by its newly elected president, Kirsty Coventry, convened its final meeting of the year on 9 to 10 December 2025 at its headquarters in Lausanne, Switzerland. During the meeting, the IOC Executive Board reviewed the latest updates on activities across the Olympic movement, including reports from its various commissions and the organizing committees responsible for upcoming Olympic Games. A press conference is scheduled to follow the conclusion of the meeting, at which Coventry and her team will present outcomes from the board's deliberations. The meeting underscores the IOC's continuing governance oversight and preparation for future games under the new leadership. Now the weather updates, first from across Nepal and then the world. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the headlines once again. Preparations in full swing for Nepal's House of Representatives election on March 5. Political parties giving visible momentum ahead of the single-phase polls. Government strengthens anti-corruption mandate. Low transparency score prompts renewed public pressure. Government cracks down on idle infrastructure projects as over 250 developments hit by contractor negligence. Minister warns of strict action. Local initiatives bring indigenous crops back from the brink in Dhading. Revival efforts key to enhancing food security. Australia enforces world first ban under 16s blocked from major social media platforms. Millions of teens lose access under new ban. And Sudur Pashchim Royals enter the final of NPL Season 2, beat Biratnagar Kings by 77 runs in the first qualifier. And that is all for the moment here on NTV World News Hour. Do join us through our social media pages and also visit our official website nepaltelevision.com for more updates. I'm Sarah Sapsanama Rai. Thank you for joining us. Good night.